You're back with WX8BK in the mornings. I've got me a nice warm cup of Tim Hortons coffee waiting for my man Willie, who's stuck in traffic. Willie, how's it looking out there?
Well, it looks like the tire on the one wheel's flat, so probably going to be doing this from the house today. Let's stop at Jaybird and see if he's got something to play for us.
What up, guys?
What up, guys?
Same stuff, different day.
Same shit, different day.
You know what it is.
Trying to make some change for my people. Hey, trying to break some change for my people. Hey, trying to rig the game for my people. Trying to make enough money I can go and fight some people. Hey, trying to make some change for my people. Hey, trying to break some chains for my people. Trying to rig the game for my people. Trying to make enough money I can go and fight some people. Trying to make some change for my people. Trying to break some chains for my people. Trying to rig the game for my people. Trying to make enough money I can go and fight some people. Trying to make some change for my people. Trying to break some chains for my people. Trying to rig the game for my people. Trying to make enough money I can go and fight some people.
You're back with WX8BK in the morning with Bits
and Willie. GM Bits.
GM Willie.
Revolution will not be televised. The fucking morning, they might wake the fuck up to Jaybird. All that talk, and you ain't doing nothing at all. You ain't doing nothing at all. You ain't doing nothing with all that talk. You ain't doing nothing at all. You ain't doing nothing at all. You ain't doing nothing. Look, all that talk, better walk that walk. What the fuck you gonna do when the real war start? Fuck a billboard chart. I need billionaire hearts. It's a million man march, but we all got guns. Where the fuck are my funds? Couple grand ain't shit. I'ma need 100 more for some brand name shit. Put the band-aid quick, fuck a radio hit. I'ma radiate energy out of my dick with the whole world shit.
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8BK.
If I were you, I would think about climbing on board.
WX8BK Tuesday night TNT. You heard the conductor. Time to climb aboard the train. Find yourself a place to be. We are about to leave the station. As always, don't worry about purchasing a ticket because the ride is on us. Opening track tonight, an unreleased track from Jay Byrne. It was originally made for the WX8BK collab funnel. It was titled Radio in this working format right here, and you heard it right here, right now. Great track featuring a little bit of One Wheel Willie and myself. And myself is Bits. I am one of the hosts this evening, and hosting with me tonight, as always, a man I can't do this without, Mr. How you doing, Mr. One Wheel?
Go Birds.
Oh, Birds! And they did
Go
it.
Birds.
Did it with all that, I don't know, there was all the cloudiness around it, though, right? I mean, with KC getting in there and all that shit, like, seemed like a pretty lame game.
Yeah.
It was all about the halftime show, anyways.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't that what it is now? It
seems like everyone's a little hungover still.
Yeah. I'm rough. I drank a case of beer yesterday. It wasn't even Super Bowl. I was celebrating for all of you guys that were happy. Birds won. The end of the like, oh my god, I drank a fucking case of beer. Whoops. Whoops. So yeah, my hangovers today. I actually just poured a glass of wine because I thought maybe it'll help me level out. Anyways, that's not the way to do it. As I did say, folks, this is the Night Train Tuesday night TNT. We are here every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific, talking to artists about the art and the journey and everything in between. Last week, we just had a little bit of a break show. Willie was having birthdays with his kids, and I was just on here blabbing a little bit and hanging out and trying out the old video thing, which we found doesn't work still very well at all. This week, though, in just a few moments, we're going to get to our guest this week, who is Uncle Browbrows, and we're going to be talking Wilk Yak Yip and a new animation that's coming out along with the children's book. So hold tight for that. We're going to be getting to that in just a really, really short moment. Next week, we will be back here again at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking with Paul, who is a ghost, and the winner of the What the Fuck game show is this, Jundaboom, will be on next week. Going to talk about that game show that Paul created in the very, very first season. Ended, I think it was just about a year, or maybe a little bit over a year that first season took. But going to dig into the details of that and see how Jundaboom feels about winning it, and how crazy Jundaboom was to go through all of the loops and holes and jump through the flaming walls of fire that Paul had set up for the game show. It was wild. So that'll be next week for you. And we got lots more coming down the way. Hey, Willie, how do you say that? There's an artist that we reached out to today, Dan Grzeka, or how do you say that? Do you know how you say
Yeah, that's as good a guess as I got.
Yeah. I'm just imagining that the G and R at the beginning is silent. It's just Zeka, maybe.
Yeah.
But, so, anyways, sorry, what'd you say there, Willie?
I was just saying, yeah, it could be silent.
Could be. I don't know, really. So that's really cool. Willie was drinking some beer that had this man's art on it, and we're going to reach out and have him on the show. So that'll be kind of...
I've tried reaching out to a couple different beer label artists in the past, and he's the first one that's answered us. So that's kind of exciting.
I mean, he does concert posters too, right? I don't know if you looked at his concert poster stuff, but it's pretty badass as well. Really distinct style. So that'll be cool to have him on. I sent the email out just. Hopefully we'll be looking that up. But next week, come back and join us again, and we'll be chatting with Paul, who is a ghost, and Jundaboom. The winner of the What the Fuck game show is this season 1, which was epic. Normally this is where we insert a whole bunch of banter for like 20 minutes or so, but tonight I think we are going to respect our guest being up at about 2 in the morning. And hanging out with us. We offered to do this show recorded, but Uncle Brows is in for the authenticity and decided to either wake up or stayed up to be with us tonight. So that's what we're going to do. I don't have anything else that I wanted to bring up other than this is a tariff-free show, and everybody here is a friend. And Willie, do you got anything you want to drop before we move on? Get into it?
No, just retweet the space. Let's try to get some more people in here. I posted in all my usual groups and DMs, but just kind of hopefully stall a little bit, pack the room up a little bit more.
Yeah, I haven't done any collecting this week. I didn't even open my object even once in the past week. I don't think. Checked out the WXBK one there when we posted up our top collectors, which was really cool, just to see the people that have been collecting.
Yeah, that's cool. That's did you read into the metrics at all? Maybe we can talk about that for a second. So it's based on a bunch of different stuff. So it's not the amount spent, or it's like if you if you have a 1 of 1, like that gives as much like points or whatever as 7 different editions of like 1 of 10s or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so it was really cool. Like kind of metrics, and then it's also kind of weighted based on like recency. So if you haven't collected in a long time, like it kind of decays and it kind of goes away, so that it helps the people who have collected recently kind of jump up on that list. So I thought that was pretty neat. The way it's all kind of done there.
Yeah, I was wondering. That's cool that you laid that out, because I was kind of wondering how that was working, because I was looking at them and it wasn't quite making any sense to me. But okay, now it makes more sense. Yeah, it was cool. I think it was, you saw Retro Manny shared that with the Retro Manny collectors, and you pointed it out to me, then suggested we do it, because we've got collectors. People head over to our object and make pieces that we've got over there. We've got the collab funnel, a wonderful collaboration project that we've been running. We've had great collaborators that we've worked with, like Iteration, Texadelic, Pop Lazarus, and Jayburn. And coming up very shortly, we're going to have Paul, who is a ghost, is going to be doing a drop with us. We've got the art, and Willie's going to create an amazing write-up for it, and we'll be hopefully releasing that sooner than later when it's ready.
We should probably do it next week if we're having him back on, right?
That'd be a good time to do it. If you got the time to finish that up, you bet, man.
I should. I should. I'm a procrastinator by heart, so I need a hard deadline for me to be like, okay, now I'll write it on Monday.
Now,
Like, like that, it just has to become a priority.
just like it. Well, I guess that's kind of how it's been going, right? And then that day we're like, okay, we got to mint this shit. Let's get it out there.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
But I mean, we have been waiting on Paul to give us a finished piece, and so
Well, and
it's not like
had some.
it's not like that.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all coming out. It's all good art, and it's all coming out. LM Designs 8 jumped in the space. Mech jumped back in with us. Thank you for being here. Fendel, of course, thank you for being here. As Willie did say, retweet out the space, but I know y'all have, because you're all dedicated folks, and that's what we do. Yeah, you also featured, didn't you feature a collection this week on the old living room gallery? Was that this weekend that you had somebody else new, or am I thinking a week past? I guess you didn't have anybody up in the living room gallery during the NFL game there, the old footy ball game. Oh, Willie must be dealing with something. He's not talking to me anymore, or he lost me altogether. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. Willie, you still there? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Can you hear me? All right, he can still hear me. Good, good. Yeah, Willie is at baseball practice, so when he drops out for a little bit, he's doing that parent thing where he's probably up against the chain link fence, screaming at the umpire for making a really bad call. Really good parenting stuff. No, Willie doesn't do that. He doesn't do that, but okay, all good. This show has been a little while in the making. Really happy we've gotten to this, so going to be good. Willie, are you all right with me jumping over to our guest now? You can give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that. Thumbs down if you're not. Wait for that. Willie's like, fuck, bits. I'm trying to buy a beer. All right. There's a thumbs up. Good stuff. All right. Cool. Well, I do apologize, folks, for a little bit of background noise. If you can hear it here in my background, I got my 3D printers running full tilt for a craft fair that I have this upcoming weekend. So there's stuff being printed in the background if you hear that. It's all busy, 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 busy in the office today. Busy in the office today. All right, time to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole conversation. I'm going to bring up to, I'll invite our guest up to unmute if he would like. Welcoming to our show, Mr. Uncle Browbrows. How are you doing this evening?
I am very well, thank you. How is everyone else doing?
Woo, we're doing great. So did you stay up late or did you sit and wake back?
Well, that's an interesting question.
All right.
It's been a journey. I was highly caffeinated before deciding to actually go to bed, and then actually not sleeping at all. So I just decided to get up a little bit early and crack on with a couple of things, and then join the space. But I'm blessed. I'm really good. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just happy to be here.
And was I correct? You're about 2 a.m.
Yes, perfect. Yes, 2 a.m. So it's not too bad. I think when I was younger, I used to easily work through at this time of the day, but now it's as you get older, it gets a bit harder to sort of focus and then be alert for the next day, I suppose. But it's okay. I'll get up. I'll take my son to school, and then I might crash when I get back home. But yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing.
Oh, awesome! No, it was all easier for us when we were younger. We could do this no problem, man.
and how?
Right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
I remember the old nights going out and having beers with buddies, and you'd be like, "All right, it's 11 o'clock. I got to get up at 6 a.m." No problem.
Oh man, yeah.
All right,
well,
it's midnight. I can still get 5 hours of sleep. All right, it's 1 o'clock. I can still get 4 hours if I go home now.
It was pointless, though. Yeah, it was pointless. Oh dear. Yeah, it was pointless. Back in the day, me and Retro had a production company together, Retro Money, and we would literally burn the candles for 2 days straight sometimes trying to work to deadlines for clients on some corporate work and stuff like that. I couldn't even imagine trying to do that now. that would be intense. I just couldn't imagine it. I would give up. I would give up very quickly. I would not last. Yeah. Although maybe all the stuff you learn as you get older, you would manage it differently anyway. You wouldn't be pushing yourself so hard. I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nah, sometimes the deadlines are still just there, and you just don't really have a choice. At least
Yeah.
for me, still. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to work till midnight for the next week and a half. Like, yeah, like, I don't like this project manager. Should have planned this whole
Oh
schedule
dear.
better.
That's
The
not
que-
project management, Willie. What the hell?
Yeah.
the question is, who's going to kill you if you don't turn up at home? Because I know that my wife would murder me if I was 2 days straight not at home if I was trying to do that again, that wouldn't fly.
Well,
I'd be soon kicked out of the house.
that's where working from home is a real double-edged sword, because you are home, but then you're like, well, I still have to work. And now I can't really have an excuse of like, no, I need to get home to my family because I'm already home. You're like,
Yeah. Plus, you get the heartstrings pulled. So I know if my son's home, for instance, and I'm working, it is extremely difficult to focus when you've got well, he's now 5, but when you've got a 5-year-old sort of coming in and out, and he wants to play with you, he just wants your time. Do you know what I mean? And you want to give him that time.
yeah,
So
absolutely. It's really hard to work from home when the kids have a
that's a
day
challenge.
off from school
Oh wow, yeah, exactly.
and they're at home, and I'm like, I don't want to work. Of course, I want to play Fortnite with you guys.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel
Definitely.
that for sure.
Seems like
So yeah.
oh, these are our lives are so wonderful. These are good problems that we have. Good problems. I found it's easier. Like in the past week, my schedule's all messed up, and it's definitely fine if you don't really have to do anything. Like I've been quite easy. Like I've been still waking up at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm doing things all through the day, and I'm like, oh, I should rest. I should rest. I keep doing things. And then I have dinner, and it's like I get on the couch and watch something, and I'm like, I pass out for an hour or two, and then I wake up and I keep doing things around the house, and then I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning, and then I'm back up at 6 again. It's great if you don't really have to do anything, but yeah, no, if you got a
Man, you sound like you've mastered the power nap.
no, dude, I haven't really mastered. It's a shitty time to have a power nap. Like it's 7 o'clock at night is just a dumb fucking time to have a power nap. Earlier in the day, like at 2 o'clock, or maybe 11 a.m., 2 o'clock. That's a good time. Anyways, these are our problems, and we'll deal with them. We'll be okay. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Fuck. Cool, man. Well, it's really good to have you on here. I'm really super excited to have you on here. And
Thank you.
mentioned Retro Manny earlier. I mean, we don't know who the hell that is, but I mean, I'm sure it's somebody great. But.
Yeah, he's this average creator. Yeah, we don't put much heat on his name, to be honest.
No, it's too much. It's all he does spacey stuff. It's all vintage.
Yeah.
Nobody's into that anymore.
So 2000s, to be honest.
Nobody likes nostalgia.
Yeah.
Oh dear, he's gonna diss me for that. He'll have me for that one. Oh dear. But yes, yeah.
It really pisses me off too because he's such a nice guy too. Like fuck.
I know. It doesn't add up, does it? There's definitely some cobwebs in the closet there somewhere to be discovered.
Let's keep poking that.
Yes, keep prodding that. Actually, don't prod the bear. He's quite tall and he's a black belt, so maybe not a good idea.
Yeah, well,
one long step and he'll be across the Atlantic in no time.
Right?
How long did you two work together?
We still do. So I say we still do. We definitely will do something in the future, hopefully, but we're both very busy at the moment. The last thing we did together was write a script and make a film. make a short film a few years ago. But yeah, I think our creative journey will definitely collide once again. It's just we're both in very different areas at the moment. Me in children's books and doing my author thing, and Retro just being some crazy dude who makes some awesome art, as well as game now, as well as animations. He's smashing it. So yeah, I think we're both just in very different areas at the moment, but that will collide again at some point. Most definitely. We've been making stuff together now since 2009. So
Oh wow.
and I can't even count how many things we've made. Various variety of different things. It's mental actually. When I look back at our collaborative career, we've done some, like, it's really cool to look back, and you see all the stuff you've made. We've made 2 feature films together, countless short films, and a comedy we've done. Which didn't do as well as we wanted it to, but yeah, it's just been a mad journey. So to think that we're both still creating after all that time, with all the ups and downs, I think it just goes to show that as a creative, you've just got to keep pushing regardless, and you don't know where it'll take you either. It could take you anywhere. I mean, I had no idea all those years ago that I would be making children's books. I would never have ever dreamt it. So I think I started. Was it 2021? I started doing children's books, and I would never have thought that I would have gone in that direction. But maybe that's having children, being a foster parent. Maybe that just things that come into your life change your thought process and change the direction that you're heading. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that affects your life, which can take you where you're going to be. There's a good saying actually that my wife used to use about love, and about how you have to be ready for it and you have to be available for love. And I'd like to think you've got to be available for creativity. Whereas if you're not available for it, it's going to be hard to let creativity flow through you, so that you don't necessarily know where you're going to go, but you just let yourself follow that journey. And I think that's what I've started to do a few years ago, is just let myself loose again, as if I was a child, like just follow that creative journey. You don't ask too many questions, because if you ask too many questions, you get too many wrong answers. And I don't think I'd have ever become a children's author with all the pitfalls and all the hardships that come into it. As long with it's a struggling industry, and very hard to make a living in. So I don't think I'd ever have chose that like years ago, because I just would have thought, well, there's no way of making money. It's very hard unless you get very lucky, and you get some massive publishing deal and you sell 1 million copies, and you become the next Julia Donaldson, or whichever children's author is huge right now. Unless you're them, it's going to be hard to make a living and survive. So I don't think I'd have ever chose this direction if I was controlling, controlling that thought process too much.
That's interesting. I was getting ready there for you to like dig deep into the dirty world of children's books. Like
man, it is dark out here. You should see when I meet up with different at different like author summits and stuff. Man, we've got the axes and shovels out. It is ready. It is prime for some dangerous deeds.
Well, I feel like one of the things that I've noticed about children's books since having kids is, like, nowadays the authors are already famous. Like you have
Yes.
you have authors that are like Samuel L. Jackson writes a children's book, and it's these already big actors that write a children's book, and then those are the only ones that like sell massive amounts of copies and become. But then there's tons and tons of children's books out there, and they're a dime a dozen. But the ones that sell a lot are by people who are already famous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how the industry works at the moment. It's unfortunate because for any newcomers, it's hard to actually break through because all they're focused on at the moment in the publishing world, and potentially this has a lot to do with Web3 and other advancements with social media and how the world's moving forward, and you can be self-published now very easily, whereas years and years ago you could self-publish, but it'd be in a limited magazine or a small newspaper or whatever it might have been. But now you can get on Amazon or Ingram Spark or whatever other print-on-demand services there are, and you can release your book. You can even now make a whole book using AI, which plenty of people are doing. It's terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's the quality is not there yet when it comes to children's books, especially when they're both written and illustrated by AI, and without an artist directing that properly. They're pretty bad at the moment, but that's going to improve. Before you know it, in a few years' time, with the advancements in AI, it might be hard to distinguish a book done by a professional artist and writer to that of an AI. But there's so many ways you can bring out a book now, and the publishing world, a bit like mainstream media. How mainstream media now aren't the biggest voice. X and other platforms are much bigger voices now in terms of the media. Well, that's the same, I suppose, with the publishing world. They're struggling, so all they're worried about is the bottom line. Not to just control the conversation. Tell me to shut up if you want to say anything, guys. But my recent experience of that, I've got a fostering story which I've been working on for a couple of years now, and which took ages to write because it's so close to my heart. I've been working with the head of one of the biggest children's publishing agencies in the UK. They're actually they're worldwide. They're not just in the UK, but I'm working with her. She's the head of the UK branch, and she's been editing the text for me and stuff like that. And she put it to their panel, which is like their worldwide sales agents panel, and they actually, even though they loved the story, they couldn't go forward with it because, one, I'm not a big enough name yet to be able to make that work like an actor or a famous writer, etc. But two, it's too limited. The sales reach for it is located mainly around the UK, possibly the US. But because fostering is so different depending on what territory you're in, so if you're in places in Europe or you're in places in the United States or Canada, it is very different the way it works. So they didn't think that the story would translate in those areas. You know what I mean? It wouldn't work unless it was changed dramatically.
If the laws are really different from one place to another. If I were a foster parent in the U.S. and I pick it up, I'm like, well, this isn't how the system works here. Like the system's broken here, or whatever the opinions might be. But I could really see that being a problem for that type of book.
I mean, across the keep them in crates. Oh wow.
Oh dear. That just hit me differently. Oh dear. I suppose you got to laugh.
Not fostering dogs, bitch. Not fostering dogs. I don't think he's talking about. He's talking about children, human children.
I don't know. Some places probably treat dogs better than children, so there is that.
Well, I have fostered dogs. I have never fostered children, so that might speak to the treating dogs better.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, so I think you're 100% right though. That is how it works. And the bottom line is really important at the end of the day because they need to go and they need all these different sales agents throughout the world to pitch in together to be able to afford to print, thousands of copies of books. So that brings the price line of the books down, which means they can sell the books and make more of a profit. And then if the book doesn't do well, they can sell it for less money, $3 or £3 or whatever instead of $6.99 or whatever it might be to begin with. And they can sell that for much less and still make a profit. Which is why you see on Amazon, you see books, you might see big books, like the Gruffalo or books like that. Oh, give me a second. My computer is trying to switch off.
Don't do that. Don't do
I
that.
know. It's what that is. It's because it's because it's in the morning at this time, and that's when your computer tries to do
Updates and shit.
updates and everything. I was actually worried about my my internet because I know that's when my provider does all its updates in the morning. So like the internet randomly can go off sometimes. So if that does happen, I'll try and get back on. Okay, but yeah, let's hope it doesn't. But my computer just tried to sabotage me already, so we'll see.
That's how our guests say that they're going to leave us.
Yeah, that's how I say I'm going to bed.
No,
Yeah, that's my excuse.
You guys are so nice over there. The way you say everything, and no, I get it. That's cool. That's whatever. Fuck Willie and bits. Children. I guess that's not. We shouldn't be using that word when we're talking about children's books. But we're not. We don't have children in here. Well, I am a little bit of a child, but anyways, it's very interesting. A couple years ago, who was it? I think we were talking to Poke Shaman, and he had a friend that got in doing children's music, and
Right.
it was very lucrative right off the bat. So I don't know I wonder if there's a big difference. Obviously, if it's just, I would imagine that if you're pumping children's stuff out, you would just do good. And now that dream is shattered. I wasn't going to write a children's book though. Most of the stuff I write looks like a child wrote it, but no, I wouldn't do children's books. It's interesting. How many children's books have you created since you started? You said in 2021?
Yes, 2021. So it takes a while to create one from scratch. I'm probably quicker than a lot of authors, purely due to the fact that I've took the time to learn all the ins and outs to the publishing world so that I can, be a professional publisher myself. It's obviously more work, but it's something that I'm passionate about. And I don't want to have stories that I've written sitting on the PC or on the shelf, as it were, not doing anything. Throughout my creative life, everything I've made, we've always put it out. And anytime I've sat on anything, I don't think it's done me any good. I'd rather create and, get it out into the world, see how it does. It may not do very well. It may do fantastic. And that's just my approach with my children's books, really. I just want to have the stories I've written and get them out there. And I'm glad I did that because, to answer your first question, I've written 3 books. Technically, four stories have been published. Because one of my latest books, which I'll talk about in a bit, probably put a link up on for people to have a look on, called Book in a Day, which is really cool. But as I say, I'll talk about that in a second. There's 2 stories inside that one book, so that's technically 4 stories that are out there, but 3 books. So that's 2 Wilk Yak Yip books, and then one which is a separate book by itself, which is really fun, really fun.
Is the Wilk Yak the first one that you animated?
Yes, so Wilk Yak Yip was my very first book. That's it. No, it's all right. Everyone, it's supposed to be a tongue twister. So everyone, sorry, everyone. The very first book I wrote was Wilk Yak Yip, and the limited edition book, which is being released as we speak now. So I've literally just pressed live on my website, so that is now officially available. Although pre-sales have already been going out to people in the post, but the Wilk Yak Yip book, it was the very first book I released, so it was fitting for me to kind of reward my collectors. So I've not only got collectors in the in the Web3 world now, but I've got really big fans sort of mine in IRL, in real life, and I just felt the need to want to create something special for them that hopefully may be of use for them in the future. It may be worth something. Obviously it's worth something to collectors anyway, because they buy it because they want to collect and they want to support, and they like what you do. But some of these collectors in real life, like they've made like plushie toys and stuff like that. Like I don't know how many hours it would have took them, days or weeks it would have took them to make these things. But they make these things and they bring them to my events. And show me these plushie toys and give them to me, and I'm like, it's crazy, it's absolutely crazy. That's the love of the character, Wilk Yak Yip, that people have. I think that's really cool.
If this was the first book, how long has it been out and available? Because it hasn't been on. You haven't had it on Tezos for that long, have you?
No, no, I haven't. No, so I published Wilk Yak Yip in 2022. So I started working on it in just the back end of 2019, and so that would have been writing it. So from writing it to actually bringing it out was just over a year, of work.
And how many editions did you originally publish, or copies, I guess?
So there's about I think there's about 350 copies out there at the moment, of that book.
And so what's different about this new limited edition that you're releasing?
So with the limited, I'm just pouring a coffee. So with the limited edition, there's a complete different front cover, with it's a full, a completely different scenario that I've painted, which tells a bit of a background story to what Yip might be. So it's a bit like breaking the fourth wall a little bit, in that Yip is this potentially a big actor, a big star, and it paints this picture of a play rehearsal, and Yip's obviously the big star. So that was the idea behind the limited edition front cover, and there's only obviously going to be 50 copies of that ever made. So whereas with Wilk Yak Yip, there's with the first book, there's obviously going to be further editions of that printed, just like most children's books, and over the years it will just keep getting reprinted and reprinted, and obviously reprints and stuff like that lose, they're not as valuable as first editions. So people who own the first edition copy of the first book anyway, that's going to be valuable, for a start. But the limited edition is obviously only ever going to be printed 50 times, so that won't ever be printed again. Once those 50 copies are sold, or collected, they won't ever be printed again. So it's a bit crazy, really. Someone said to me that you're a bit stupid doing 50 copies, because anything up to about 1,000 copies is a limited edition, really. But obviously, we're talking about much bigger authors there. Like Matthew McConaughey releasing his children's book, which was just massive. 1,000 copies for him, that would be still a worthy limited edition. For me, I thought 50 was fair, because even if I do become a bigger author in the next few years or whatever it might be, I just feel like that rewards the people who have stuck with me in the early days. I mean, because 50 is quite limited, so yeah, I feel like that would just give them a nice reward.
And which copy or edition, I guess, are you sending to the collectors who collect all of the pieces on object?
One of the 50, so
Okay.
they're getting one of the 50 limited editions, and so far, there's 4 that have gone out in the post.
There's only
So I've
10 editions of all those pieces, am I right?
Yeah, there's only 10 editions. That's right. And because the front cover is all sold out, it's the only piece that's completely sold out. So 10 editions have gone of that. You'd have to pick one up on secondary to be able to then collect all of the pieces, all of the 25 pieces in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's. But I'm going to, when I drop the animation shortly, I'm going to explain what I've got like a method in which you can still own a limited edition copy if you can't collect. If you're struggling to collect all of the editions, or you want a different way to do that, there's going to be a way to do it with the animation.
Well, they are at least all currently available on secondary. So for anybody interested in trying to get out there and swoop all that up, they're at least available right now on secondary.
That's right. Yeah.
Screwed up so bad because I remember I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm so going to do this. And I bought the cover. And then, last week I was like, okay, yeah, no, how many more do I need to buy? And then I realized all I bought was the cover.
I think you're in a good position though, because it's the cover which is the one which is the one you'd have to get on secondary at the moment. Whereas I think there's an edition of all the others available. So
Uni or somebody paid 20 tes for that cover the other day.
That was Wombats.
Wombats, yeah.
Yeah, that was Wombats. And he got that from one of my other collectors, Scott. Yeah, I think you guys probably know Scott, don't you? I would have thought. Yeah, so he had 2 available because he bought two editions of the front cover, and then he left it up for 20 tes. So Wombats scooped in and got that, which was awesome because that was the only piece Wombats was missing. He had everything else, so that was the only piece he was missing.
Oh my god! I was just flipping around here. The animation's up.
I know. I was hoping no one would see it.
No, something else. Never mind. It's
I couldn't because I've got to mint it and then list it. I didn't want anything going too wrong with doing it bang on during the call. So I listed it not too long ago with trying to hopefully that no one noticed. But yeah, there's always someone who like sticks their thumb in the soup, isn't there?
Right.
Oh dear. But yes, shall we drop the animation, everybody?
We can do that. I wanted to say that we ended up. My phone just said that my one phone just said that the host is having connection issues. So if we all drop out of here, please come back, folks. I hope it doesn't happen. But anyways, yeah, no, let's do that. Let's get to dropping the animation.
Should we get to dropping the animation?
I wish
that sounds like good timing.
And last week I specifically revisited the video. Willie and I were trying to make the video thing work months ago, but the X just has not done a great job with it, and it's just absolute trash. And it's definitely not built for the longer shows that Willie and I do. So I tried last again because I was hoping that we were going to be able to do this visually. But right off the bat last week, as soon as I started the space, I was like, nope, they haven't fixed anything. Still crap.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. The floor is yours. Give us a little.
The floor is yours. Right. Well, let me just get the post ready so that you all can see it. I'm nearly there with it.
Just give the room a little bit of a reset. Okay, let's see. Here we go. All right. Fuck's sakes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying I'm kind of glad that happened. You know, you gave us a nice warning, so we were all prepared for it. And then I'm kind of glad it happened before we actually got everything ready to, load or play or whatever we were going to do. So
yeah, like I mean,
hopefully we'll get a nice reset, get some people back in here. We usually get more people in after Elon boots us out for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's the timing of like the retweet of the space. I don't know.
That was our tariff, wasn't it?
You kept messing with it, yeah.
Oh, gee. Okay, well, I sent a message to Brows, so we'll get Uncle Brows back in here. Man, oh man. It's the really funny thing about that is that message always comes up on the other. That message doesn't come up on my WX8BK, the main host of this show. It doesn't show, oh, you're having a connection issue. It showed up on the Bits phone. It said the host is having a connection issue, and it's like, well.
And it never shows up for me. You always only get it yourself. So,
well, it's
I don't know.
You got to be looking. I mean, I guess it's probably also that I have the phone face too, right?
It's still the best that we've figured out, right?
It is. It is. We still use it because it is the best. Mech is back. Thank you for coming back. Oh, see, look, we gained somebody new. Paul, who is a ghost, jumped in because he's on that list. When I relaunch Spaces, Paul's on that list. So we can poke Paul every time. Paul's here. Fendel came back. Thank you, Fendel. Hope everything's going okay in the Pacific Northwest. Hope Jane's doing good. Everything is good. We'll wait Uncle Brows to get back in here. Malicious.
I've got a couple of easy questions we can fire too to kind of get back into the groove if we need. I don't think we want to go straight into trying to drop whatever we're doing. I think we can.
Oh, we'll take a minute. He's probably taking a pee. Like one of those moments where everybody can go have popcorn, take a pee if you got to take
a little intermission.
Yeah, we'll sing that song. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the. I don't know if you guys had that.
And grab ourselves a snack. Oh yeah, man, I got you.
Hot dogs, like dancing around the popcorn. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
shit. Love that shit. I actually think we played that on the show one night years ago. I do believe I looked. Think about it.
Probably.
No, I'm happy that everybody's rolling back. I was coming back in. See, Uncle Brows is going. I don't know if I want to go back to that fucking half-rate show. But, yeah, we'll get Uncle Brows back. Oh, yeah.
Element of the hour has returned.
There's Malicious. Uncle Brows.
Hello, I'm back.
We thought
that was perfect timing.
That's kind of what I was saying. Because, good thing it happened when it did and not halfway through.
It was like a Men in Black. It was like a Men in Black reset. We now forget that anything was accidentally dropped prematurely. So
when I throw it up on YouTube, I'll edit that. Nobody will even know.
No, they won't have an idea. Not a clue at all. Hey, it's not that serious. Let's face it.
That does Spaces in any way, shape, or form. Anybody that puts them on or is guests on them or listens to them, that this is a fact of life. Sometimes they go 100% fine. And honestly, with Willie and I, for over almost 3 years now, we've been doing these. And honestly, the amount of times that we've had problems, the amount of times that we haven't, has been definitely.
Yeah.
We've definitely had more better times than we have. But it seems like it comes in waves. It's like when going down, it's like for the next couple weeks now, it'll probably be crappy but whatever. Anyways, it's what we do.
That is what we do. Exactly, that is what we do.
I thought that was your big grand plan. You did that on purpose because you're no.
Well, me and Mr. Musk are quote close acquaintances. So I don't have any of his money, and he won't give me any. But he's a supporter.
Right. Willie supports him. Willie owns a Tesla.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, you have a Tesla. What Tesla do you have? I have heard that in a space that you Tesla, but I weren't sure if it was a joke, like an inside joke that the rest of us weren't part of. But you actually have one then.
yeah, I've got a Model X.
Oh, really
I've been
nice.
wanting one since before he became a psychopath Nazi.
Oh wow.
But you know, that was 10 years ago when I first wanted one. So finally got one, and then he starts to become this just yeah. I can't anymore with him.
Let's
So
let's move to the more important thing and not bore anyone who's not a fan of cars here. But go on, tell us a bit about the Model X then, and what's its 0 to 60?
3.2 seconds.
Oh wow, that's quick.
It's like a rocket ship, and
Excuse me.
it's just handles on rails.
That is crazy.
It is extremely fun to drive.
Well, 3.2 seconds is that's as fast as not my current motorcycle, but a motorcycle that I had not too long ago. That's as quick as that. That's crazy to think that
and
a car
it's not
is
even.
moving
I don't even have.
quickly.
I don't even have the plaid, which is like 1.8 seconds or something.
Yeah, the plaid's ridiculous, isn't it?
And you can put 7 people in it.
And still do that speed.
Yeah, and still do that speed.
Well, they're so heavy, aren't they? The electric cars that it doesn't really matter how many people you've got in them because they're already carrying their own weight, which is a ridiculous weight. So the fact that it's moving that much weight on the ground, I heard something on. I know you shouldn't probably listen to things you hear on podcasts, but I heard something on a podcast saying that if electric vehicles don't get lighter, especially here in the UK, they will have to basically ban them from going into multi-story car parks because the multi-story car parks were only ever designed to carry the weight of much smaller cars. Obviously,
there's an old like engineering saying of libraries, right? So they built all these libraries, hundreds of years ago, but they never accounted for the weight of the books. So it's the same story, right? So all these libraries all over the world, like massive libraries, are sinking because they never accounted for the weight of the books, and that's the same thing.
That's the same thing.
They're built for a vehicle that's half the weight, so now you double that.
That's crazy.
Going through that here where they were talking about the roads being that way, but I kind of didn't believe it with the roads as much because I mean roads are geared to haul transport trucks and everything like that anyway, so I kind of think it was just like the road people kind of trying to make another sale on redoing all the roads. But the parkade thing, the parkade, that makes total fucking sense to me because I mean you're only building it for so much weight, right? You're never taking a transport truck up there or big loads, so that's interesting like that. They just finished a study. They released it on Monday here in Canada yesterday. Because, obviously battery life in electric vehicles, when it gets cold out, battery life is cut down exponentially. And it was very interesting. So they actually did AMA, the American, or the CAA, Canadian Automobile Association, same as all the AAAs all over the world or whatever. They did a study on some electric vehicles driving the same route in different temperatures. And it was interesting. The Tesla was actually really bad in the cold. It was terrible. And it was actually a Ford and a Chevrolet that had the best battery life. And then some brand that I wasn't familiar with, some small Chinese, I don't know if it was a Chinese brand or what, but they were another one that had good mileage. But like all of the big ones that anybody talks about, crappiest mileage in the cold. But the most interesting thing is that Teslas and the Chevrolet Silverado truck, I guess it would have to be, were the best for charging on short periods of time. They got the bigger bang out of the charge than so it was interesting.
Yeah, they have a faster charging system. They
Yeah,
can just allow more electrons in per second. Basically, I can speculate a lot on why the Tesla might be the worst for range in the cold compared to those others, mostly being Like the Teslas are a specific build, right? As where a lot of other vehicle manufacturers adapted, so they just took a frame and everything they already had, which I would think would make them have to put their batteries in different spots, like in the trunk, in under the hood more, where it might be more insulated. So those batteries might be staying warmer
Well, that was
than the
that,
Tesla because the Tesla's actually more exposed to the outside, I would think.
yeah, that was the one of the things that I was wondering about immediately was, okay, what are the dynamics of all this, right? Like, do all of these vehicles have the same power cells, right? Yeah, just like you said, where are they located? Like, there's got to be a lot of other factors into this, but it was it was one of the big points was brought up though, right? You have to know this average power use in order to make these things. And I mean, this is Canada, right? Like this is the way everything comes to us. Even when we manufacture these things in Canada, it's very rare that it's manufactured to our
Yeah,
climate.
it's no different than an ice or a diesel engine up there, right? Where you need heater blocks to warm your heaters in the winter. Because
Yeah.
we don't need that shit in California.
No, you don't. I plugged my Forerunner in for 2 hours before I went out and drove this morning because I wasn't going to open the garage.
Yeah, exactly. You got to plug it in, warm it up,
I wasn't going to go and open the garage and take the Corolla out because it's just too
put a
cold,
cheated blanket on.
right? Little earmuffs on,
Anyway,
little scarf around it. Yeah, let's give it a little.
let's get back to the book.
Right.
So, what temperature is it there then at the minute?
Right now, I'm gonna say I'm just gonna take a guesstimate and say we're probably negative 23. And of course,
Negative 23.
that is Celsius. Yeah, because I'm in.
Wow.
Let me just check
Wow.
that on. So we're only negative 18, negative 27 with the wind chill, but we're going down by time I wake up in the morning. It's going to be minus 26. Yeah,
Wow, that's intense.
we've lucked out though. Like we've up until February, we've been really lucky here. Like we've just been avoiding this winter like the plague. But February and March, that's when the real shit goes down. It's cold. It sucks.
That is crazy. That's another level. That is. We don't see anything that cold here in the UK. For the closest you get to that is up in
Right.
up in the Shetlands maybe. You might see something anywhere slightly cold, that level of cold, or maybe up in the mountains in the Cairngorms in Scotland, potentially you might see something that cold. I don't know. I'm glad we don't.
I question. I mean, there's a reason why most of Canada is only populated in the bottom 5% because it gets colder the further north you go. But I mean, whatever, it is what it is. It keeps a lot of the poisonous shit doesn't live here, right? We're not like Australia because everything dies in the wintertime, right? It used to keep the homeless population down, but that seems to be a world problem that grows and over now. But
Yeah.
it was really funny a couple of years ago when we went to Art Basel in Miami. A friend of ours, Nearun, she lives in Scotland, and somebody in Florida said, "Oh yeah, but it's going to be cold because it was the beginning of December." And they're like, "Yeah, no, it's cold at that time of the year." Blah blah blah. And she was like, "Oh my God, like how cold is it going to be?" And then I piped up, I'm like, "No, Nearun." I said, "I just looked at the forecast and it's going to be plus 19 to plus 21." And she's like, "Oh shit." She's like, "That's like better than a hot summer day in Scotland." So like, I'm like, "Yeah, no, it'll be fine for us to go down there. It'll be all right."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Scotland doesn't ever get that warm. Yeah, it's a strange, amazingly Jurassic climate up there.
The Highland cows look like a yak, right?
Yes,
That's
yeah,
what I was
exactly.
thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. I remember one giving me a really funny look when I was on a tour up there. Me and my dad did a motorcycle tour back in it was ages ago now, 2015. We did a Scotland tour, and the Highland cows are absolutely beautiful, wonderful creatures, beautiful color. When you see the one up close rather than on a picture, the color is it's intense. It's quite intense. It's as bright as you would expect when you see a picture of one. I suppose if they're well kept cows. But they generally tend to be, I suppose, because they're quite a valuable cow. But beautiful thing.
Yeah, just before we get back into, because I got a yak question for you, and we want to get to the animation. But you've mentioned motorcycles a couple times. What do you currently ride?
I've currently got a Fireblade, Honda Fireblade 1000. So that's the race replica, and I've had too many motorcycles to count, and a lot of motorcycle accidents, and I love them. And I'm a thrill seeker, so I will never. I don't think I've ever. I've not had a motorcycle for only 8 months out of the past 18 years.
Wow.
So yeah, I've had a motorcycle in my garage. Well, not necessarily in the garage. I've got a garage now, but I didn't used to. But yeah, I've had a motorcycle all my life, pretty much, bar when one got stolen, and then I had to sort of just wait a bit. I was renovating my home at the time it got stolen, and when the insurance gave me some money back for it, they the sort of the bills on the house were quite expensive, so I pretty much spent all the money on the house, and had to save up then to get a bike after that then. But yeah, the whole motorcycle thing's all in my family, and I very rarely have a conversation where I don't talk about motorcycles, which is quite annoying to people. But I'm motorcycle mad. I love cars. I love all vehicles, to be honest. But I love classic cars. Either classic cars or cars that are so exotic I can't own them. But classic cars are the one. My ideal car would be a 1967 Shelby GT 500 Mustang, and the 1967. And I think it's in the film Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage.
Eleanor.
Eleanor, that's it. And if I could ever own one of those, but they're about 65 grand to get in the UK, and that is nowhere near in my price range. So, but maybe one day. Yeah, but maybe one day.
The other thing with
ever think about writing a children's book about classic cars?
Maybe I've written so many children's stories for books, but it takes so long to create the whole book and to finish a story that to be honest, I keep writing stories as well. So I've got stories which I want to bring out, but then I'm also writing new stories which I want to bring out. So unless I can eventually start publishing in a wider sense and start getting other, which is my goal. My goal is to spread my wings and spread my the Uncle Browbrow's banner to become a bigger publisher. Obviously not a big, like the big publishers, but to become a publisher which is capable of taking other upcoming artists, writers, and illustrators sort of on the journey with me. That's the ultimate goal. And to do that, it'd be great to potentially start doing that by maybe having an illustrator illustrate one of my stories, so that it's still an Uncle Browbrow's book, but obviously just illustrated by someone else. So that's sort of my next goals, really, as far as publishing goes.
Everything you've done up to this point, you've written and done all the drawing, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So my goal is to, because if I can start collaborating, just like me and Melissa Sheep, shout out. Just like I've done with Melissa Sheep on the animation, I'd like to collaborate with illustrators who can bring mine to life, and then maybe I'll be able to then start bringing other writers, on board, so that I can team them up with illustrators if they don't illustrate, or if they're a writer or illustrator, bring them on board, to help them put their book out there. That is definitely my goal, because I think now's the time when big publishers are struggling and they're only publishing, well-known authors and just republishing with those authors, rather than or like One Wheel Willie said, using actors and other people to have ghostwriters write for them to then bring a story out, for instance. And well, not saying some of them might not have written the story themselves, but majority of the time it's probably a ghostwriter that's written it for them, and then it's just published underneath the name of the actor. But the process of bringing new upcoming authors and illustrators on board, that's what I'd love to see happen. And maybe it would even be possible to combine the Web3 element into that as well, finding an illustrator through the Tezos blockchain, or I think I think that ecosystem could work well with how well it's possible to do that. There's just so many options. My brain's ticking over now. I'm starting to think of like all the options which it does regularly. But there's so much that I want to achieve, and it just takes time, because these things are quite slow. To do a book does take time, and it's not it's a big part of your life, really. A year of your life on one project can be quite intense. So which is why when you launch a new book, it's just amazing. The book launches I do, and then the author events I do, that is the most rewarding part of being a children's author. When you've gone to events and you've had children say to you, this is the best day of their life, and they've never met a real author before, because where we live, in there's a lot of a lot of poor and a lot of people who aren't necessarily rich and doing great in life, and these children don't get to see authors in their local libraries because their local libraries are struggling to survive. And, it costs money to get an author, to an event, especially a big name. So to get an author like me come along and be able to, do an event with the children and have them interact. And my events are very interactive, very animated and very fun. The kids' faces, to see their reaction, it's just amazing. It's something I'll never ever want to give up. I think that feeling's unmatched. The only feeling better than that is when I run an idea past my son and he loves it. I'd say that's the only peak that's better than releasing a book and doing an author event with the children. But yeah, it is really amazing. And anyone who wants to write a children's book, I always say, do it. Just don't do it for the money. If the money happens and you get lucky and your book does just somehow fly off shelves or it hits the right market, then that's a bonus. But you certainly can't do it going into it thinking that there's going to be big money in it, because the reality is there isn't. Books are expensive. They cost a lot of money to make. And unless you're a big publisher and you can publish thousands of books in China or India or wherever you're going to get them printed for cheap, unless you can do that, the reality is you're just not going to have the margins to make much money off selling a book. It is more about.
Have you ever released any of your books digitally only without physical copies?
No. I tell you why. The only book I did a digital copy of was the first one, Wilk Yak Yip, and I haven't done it with any of my others, purely because the whole point of a children is for children to turn the pages and to be part of the reading experience. When you're flicking through on a tablet or a phone, it's just not the same. And I kind of don't want to.
That's kind of exactly why I bring it up.
Yeah.
Is children's books have this uniqueness of they kind of always need to be physical.
Yes.
When my oldest son was born, I had a Kindle and I tried, bootlegging a couple books off the internet and like trying to read those, and it really isn't the same.
No.
Sure, you might be able to read a novel that way. Fine, no problem. A lot of people love their Kindles and things that and they would much rather read that way than have the physical book. But to a child, to grasp the learning that you need to develop those reading skills, it really does need to be this physical object. And it's so unique as we get rid of magazines and newspapers and all this other physical media just dies. Like, children's books are going to be hard pressed to go away.
I hope so.
And you're not truly an adult until you can read a children's book upside down, right?
Facing the crowd, backwards. Yeah.
It's the sound of the paper too. Like that's what I take away, even as a child and right now as an adult. To me, it's the sound of the paper when you're turning those pages or something. Like that's part of the whole gig too, man. Like today I reread it again. Flipping through an object and reading all the pages, and that was the first thing that came right to my mind. Is like, man, I really need I need the physical because I need to be able to just like flip those pages, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's something in the static imagery that forces the imagination to work at such a young age too, right? As where
Definitely.
like some of the digital ones I tried to read with my son had like moving, had like animation for each image instead of just being that static image. And it's cool, from a parent standpoint of like, okay, I read this book when I was a kid. This is way cooler, but it's also really different, and it kind of takes you out of the book, and you're now watching a movie instead.
Yeah. They are different mediums for that reason. Both have their pros and cons, don't they? But I do think. I hope and do think that children's books will be there forever, because, I mean, who hasn't read, for instance, The Very Hungry Caterpillar or Goodnight Moon, excuse me, I'm going to cough.
I haven't read any of those.
You haven't read any of those books?
None of those ones. I don't have children either. But when I was a kid, I don't know if they were around that long. I've never.
Oh yeah, these are old. Yeah. These are the classics. Yeah, these are the books which I would put on that genius level. In terms of how they've been written and how hello again.
Yeah, this is a rough night for Spaces.
Oh dear, they don't like the browse.
Trying to gatekeep children's books.
The browse are just too powerful. This is the thing.
The browse are just too powerful, Mal. That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to hear more from Malicious Sheep, because Malicious Sheep's got the voice that will carry us through and be successful. So
probably too cold up here. That's why it's too cold to run space. Our tariff now only go 45 minutes at a time.
Oh dear me. Dear me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes. I think the cold weather could have an impact, but more likely it's the power of the brow.
I was going
power of the brow.
This is like real serious shit we're talking about here. He's about to bust it open on the whole children fiasco that's going on in this world, and that's why they keep it down, man. You want it out there. Nobody.
I was talking about the uniqueness and genius of the publishing of Very Hungry Caterpillar, and its different page sizes and holes in the page so you could see where the caterpillar was going.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Okay, so maybe I do know this book and I just don't know. Okay, now I gotta Google this right now while we're waiting for. So I figure
it's such a popular book, that it still outsells most other books in terms of they still publish different editions of it. And it's just crazy to think that a book like that has spanned so many decades. Is just impressive. And hopefully Uncle Brow's books will do the same over time. I would love that to happen.
Not hopefully, it will.
Mm-hmm.
I very much hope so.
That's where we're going. All right. Well, do we want to just jump into the drop in the?
Yeah, should we do that before it's? Yeah, we probably should have done that early, shouldn't we? We were going to, weren't we? Yeah, we started talking about Teslas.
Well, happen. You don't expect you're gonna get bucked, but all of a sudden you just get bucked, and there we go. We're out.
That's it. Right. So let me introduce this to everyone then. So I'm going to drop this now. I'm posting it as we speak. Post. Okay, and then I'll share the post in the chat. Bear with me.
I've been trying to buck. My friggin' phone's not agreeing with me here.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out just as you said.
No, I was just. That's because I was mumbling. I said I've been trying to buy one for the last 5 minutes, but my browser doesn't want to connect to my object.
Oh dear.
First world problems over here. So this is the first done.
Is that loaded now? Yeah, there it is. Right, I can share that now.
Pinning.
Okay, everyone should have that. So get the popcorn ready, and if you want to watch it now, now's the time to have a watch. And this is a production by Uncle Browbrows and Malicious Sheep, who voices the voice of the director of the play that you'll watch, which is The Mouse Princess, and it's epic. So enjoy.
I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late.
You're late to
I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late.
You're late to the start. It's just rehearsal. Cue everybody. Lights, drama. What? That's lunch.
Uncle Brothers. Uncle Brothers.
Uncle Brothers.
Woohoo! We got there in the end.
Yay!
Yay!
I wanted to watch it again, but I'll watch it later. I've watched it twice. I've watched it like 3 times now without sound, but that was great.
Thank you. Can we get a round of applause for Malicious Sheep's appearance, please? I think that's Mal's first.
Appreciate you.
Oh no, we appreciate you, Mal. I think you smashed it.
Uncle Brothers. Uncle Brothers.
I like that. I like that soundbite. I put it on my board today.
Uncle
Oh,
Brothers.
have you? Well, I'll tell you what's really funny about that is I was meant to record the voice because I knew what I wanted to do to finish off my ident years ago, because I've had this ident for a long time, and I've just not got around to recording the voices that I wanted to do for it. And then I thought, for this animation, I have to finish that. That has to be a to-do list from years ago that needs to get ticked off. So I made sure to, finish my ident how it should be. I used to on Instagram, when I used to do Instagram reels more often, I used to just have it's really the the voice to the what is it? The voice to type or the type where it reads out the text in Instagram, and it would just go Uncle Brabras like this, But that's all it would do. And that's what I got away with for a long time. But yeah, no, I thought I needed to finish that ident properly. But yeah, there's the animation, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. It was a lot of work for only 40 seconds. But but when you're doing everything by yourself, with the addition of having Mal's helping hand to finish it off, then it's a task and a half. But it was designed to be crazy and manic, and it was supposed to make you feel like you are watching a very chaotic play at hand. So that come across.
I love it.
It's just rehearsals.
So you, the little mouse, that's Mal.
Yeah, that's Mal. Yeah.
Taller Mal. I did. Thought you were taller, but
that is how
everyone's finally seen me now.
Yeah. It's not a sheep at all. It's a mouse in sheep's clothing. So
I actually final part when the everything falls down. That I don't know why that appeals to me the most, but I like that.
It's I wanted that old school Tom and Jerry-esque kind of finish, where everything just comes crashing down. I just wanted to finish it with that. I thought that'd be a nice finish. And when I never do anything unless my son either finds it hilarious or gives me the thumbs up that it's a good story. So I have literally written whole short stories for my children's books. Finally read them to my son, and he's given me the thumbs down, and that goes in the trash. It goes straight in the trash. It has to pass the Troy test. That's my son's name. It has to pass the Troy test. If it passes the Troy test, we're on to a winner. And he found the animation absolutely hilarious. So I knew it would be a winner for that reason. But yeah, I'm glad that I've finally been able to drop it. So thank you for watching, everybody. And it is now available to collect if you so wish to do so. Would you mind me explaining how you can collect or get your hands on one of the 50 limited edition copies by purchasing the animation?
Please do.
Okay, the description is in the object. It is in the on the piece in object, but basically, because it's going to be quite difficult to potentially collect all of the 25 editions. 25 pieces in the collection. And additionally, if you want the book now, because I need to respect my early collectors, additionally, you need to now get your hands on the animation as well as the 25 pieces. So you and the front cover. So if you collect 10 editions of the animation, then you'll be able to get a limited edition copy that way too. So if you collect 10 editions, my idea behind that is that it gives a bit of collection control by potential collectors. So if they wanted to burn the 9 of the editions that they've collected of the animation after they've got the book, then that will enable them to create a bit of scarcity with the animation. Alternatively, if you just want to, if you just love the animation, that's all you want, to collect, then you can do that. And that would be, I'd welcome that, of course. That would be amazing. But there is an option there, so that if you either don't want to collect all of the pages in the collection, then you can just do it by purchasing 10 editions from the animation. I've released 30 editions after airdropping some of my editions to my early collectors, which is their extra, even extra reward on top of being sent the limited edition book, just because they've been there, they've stuck with me throughout the whole journey, and I really love them for that. That's been so cool to see. That people have supported me throughout that whole journey, because I mean it's a big collection, really. There's a lot of pieces to collect, but obviously, I hope the reward of having the limited edition book is worthwhile, which I believe it is. I think it's amazing myself, but yeah, I think Wombats is the first person to receive the book, if I'm correct in saying so, along with some people in the real world who have pre-ordered in Britain. But in some of my other collectors are across the world, in the States, and in a few different countries. So their editions are going to take a bit longer to get to them. But yeah, I think Wombats has received his. He posted about it, so that was lovely to see. Really, as I said, that's my favourite part of being an author, is getting books into hands, and getting eyes into the books. That's my favourite part. So, but yes, if you want to get your hands on a limited edition, that's how you can do it, or collect all of the editions available inside the collection, and do it that way. That's which is going to be easier for anyone who currently owns the front cover, because that's the only one that's completely sold out. But yeah, that's that. And if anyone wants to ask any questions, I'm available to answer.
I love all of that. It's so exciting. The getting the physical books into people's hands thing, that's just cool. That's with any artist, right? With being able to know that book is in somebody's hands, whether it's just going to sit on a bookshelf or if it's going to be read to children, or put through the ringer by children, even, just in the way that it is that books do, right? They get picked up, thrown down, milk spilt on them. That's just cool. Not many artists can.
On that point, what I've actually done, I haven't stated this in the thing, but I've been sending a paperback to all of my collectors for free as well. So so you'll get a paperback if you want one. If you don't want one, you don't have to have it. If all you want is the limited edition, but I've given them the option to have a paperback, because at least then they can keep the limited edition safe and secure. Because obviously, I'm hoping that in years to come it'll be worth some good money. But at least then they've got a paperback which they can read. If they've got children, I can read to the children. As you say, can have jam or peanut butter and jelly or whatever it might be smothered all over it, and still enjoyable to read.
That's even better. It's a little bit more authentic. When they're, like when people are looking for antiques, you want to see some of the wear and tear on it and to know that it was used. That's, peanut butter and jam. That's where it's at.
That's it. Yeah.
It's kind of cool when you think about it, right? It's like not many artists go, you paint a painting, you don't think about stuff like that somebody's grubby fingers are going to be on it, because it's meant to go on the wall and sit there, right?
Yeah.
That's really so cool. A couple of questions that I have that I wanted to touch on is, so my first one, number one, why yak?
Okay, so I was supposed to try and come up with a character which, because the idea behind the story was that my son used to run away from us. He wanted us. He wanted his independence from a very young age. So he never crawled. He went straight to walking, and ever since he did so, he wanted us to be at a distance. He always wanted to explore and be adventurous. He's slightly the opposite now, believe it or not. But he, at a young age, he was walking quite early, and from that point, he would walk all the way down to the bottom of the road, look back at us to make sure we're not following him, and if we did follow him, he'd have a big hissy fit, or a strop. So we had to keep our distance, and we had to let him go and be independent, rather than helicopter parenting, if you know what I mean. And he he was just. I just wanted to make a story because I knew that other parents would experience that with their children, and I just wanted to put a story together that, that made all of that come together. And a yak just felt right when I look at my boy and I look at his messy hair. His hair's, he's got really long. Well, he had really long hair, but his hair's just really fluffy and bouncy and curly, and it's just everywhere. And his personality is very bright but also very strong. He knows what he wants, which is how I've tried to portray Wilk Yak Yip. That he is this very boisterous character. One point in the book, he's like, "Get out of my way! I'm Wilk Yak Yip. I'm bold and brash," and he's just full of personality, and that is my little boy. Very direct, and in his own way, very adventurous and very creative. So I just wanted this character that represented that. So, long story short, even though I've just took you through the long story, Wilk Yak Yip was supposed to look like my little boy, but when I was drawing the character, a various variety editions of the character, I just couldn't get a yak to look like him, to be honest. He kind of does have the features, like the messy hair, and the fluffy, the messy coat, the fur and stuff like that. So that kind of went there. The smile somewhat, but yeah, I just couldn't quite get a yak to look like him. But a yak, for me, had that personality. When you watch, excuse me, sorry, just mute my mic a second.
Hey, no dying on our show. Okay?
Oh dear.
Hey,
there we go.
Can I just jump in and interrupt you guys? This is HP.
Oh, hey HP.
How you doing, Uncle Browbrows? Love the talk, and I'm only saying this as a bit of housekeeping. I would recommend, my dear host, that we change the name of the space to Night Train with Uncle Browbrows. New animation drop.
Oh wow!
Because when it says "wow," bad is the first two words, people might think that, like, you know what I mean. Let's just say Night Train, Uncle Browbrows, new animation drop, and just call that space that.
You're very right.
Because most people don't know it's already rugged twice. They just walk in.
No, you're very right. You're very right, HP. Thank you very much.
No worries. That's all. All right, I'm gonna turn off my mic again. Carry on.
Thanks,
Appreciate
HP.
I'm doing that right now.
See,
I already got it.
HP,
Thanks, HP.
HP's got my back.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to it. Thanks, HP.
Right? Come in. Face that this guest is just horrible.
Just the worst.
It's
This children's author. Don't buy his books, everyone.
He was talking about pounds, but they don't use pounds there. They use kilograms. What the fuck is this?
He's selling drugs to kids.
Oh
dear.
Talk
Yes.
about shilling. I mean, those guys in the UK, they know a lot about shilling. Let me tell you. You know.
Oh,
Pound,
dear.
a shilling, a pence.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Okay, so cool. The other question that I kind of had that's been eating at me is when you're doing the art, what media are you using?
So I sketch most of my art first off. So I am a sketcher. I think the life in art lives in the sketch. I'll either sketch digitally or I'll sketch in analog in a sketchbook, and then I'll usually with Wilk Yak Yip style of animation, which is vector based. Sorry, not animation. The animation is vector based too, but I mean the style of illustration is vector based. So I'll transfer that sketch to the computer, and then I will work on vectorizing. That sketch into the character until it gets to the point where, depending on what pose I'm doing, I can just do that straight up in vector now. Depends on. Excuse me. It depends on what pose I'm doing. If it's a very difficult composition, you might notice my filmmaker sort of instincts in my artwork. very awkward compositions, very you know strange compositions with the with how I've got characters in the pages. That tends to come across with my Wild Yak Yip books. So I really wanted people to feel like they're engrossed in that Himalayan environment. I had someone say to me once during one of my events, events at a library. He's the guy that asked the question. He has climbed Mount Everest a number of times, and he was there with his children. And he asked me some of the terminology I use throughout the book, plus the how real the landscape feels. He asked me if I'd been there, if that's what inspired me to write the book. And I says, no, I actually haven't been there. I'd love to go there. I'd love to sort of climb Everest or just some of the other smaller, mountain ranges, but or just to visit that area. That is on the bucket list to do. Especially if you'll see, my second book is called Yak on the Track, and there's a Himalayan railway. And me and my little boy love trains. So one of my ultimate aims would be to go and visit that Himalayan railway and ride that small gauge railway up the mountain would be incredible. So, but yes, I haven't visited there, so that wasn't necessarily the inspiration. The only inspiration really behind the book was the fact that I chose a yak, because a yak to me represented, especially when you see the videos online of the young yaks having a while of a time trying to fight the adults and learn just like our children learn with us, like wrestling and stuff. These young yaks just being boisterous and being put in their place by the by the adults. I think that was the main inspiration behind it, is how do I put my son onto a page, but in anthropomorphized state as an animal, as a creature, and that's where the yak came from. But yeah, I think I want people to be engrossed when they read it, and children to be engrossed when they read it. And it's so awesome when I hear from parents that their child hasn't put the book down for a week, or something like that. A parent messaged me the other day actually saying that their child hadn't read Wild Yak Yip for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden they picked that one out the bookshelf and they were reading that then for 2 weeks. They wouldn't pull it down. That was the book they had to be read to go to sleep with, before bedtime. And that's amazing. That's incredible to know that that's happening in a household other than your own. Is quite cool.
Right? That's just like a musician walking down the road and hearing their song playing out of somebody's car. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And the equivalent I can give you here on the night train is that when somebody pipes up that they listen to a recording of one of our spaces or off of YouTube, man, that gets me. It's like, damn,
I bet it does actually. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, I had something else I was going to say, but I got all caught in the moment there. But anyways, has the hand up, Malicious? You got a question? Want to jump in here?
I just wanted to say how fun it was to create this with Uncle Brow Brow. I enjoyed the process a lot. This is my first voice acting debut, so I'm appreciative that it went so well, and I had so much fun. I do have to go to a meeting very shortly, but I have enjoyed myself a lot here. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because the experience was wonderful, and I really love the final product. It makes me laugh every single time, which I think is great. And it's kind of weird to finally hear myself doing a character voice and it being in a thing. I'm like, that sounds pretty good, and then remind myself that it is actually me, and it's funny. It's just fun. But I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, Mal. I kind of wish we'd heard more from Mal. We've just continued talking, haven't we? I was hoping to ask Mel to come and talk about the process and talk about that a bit more in terms of, you know, being a voiceover artist, because Mal is amazing. I won't post this ever, but when you animate, you have to obviously have, if you don't have the voice actor available to do the voice before you animate, you have to then put you have to just do it yourself. So I've got my voice as this mouse, and when I've sent it to family and stuff like that to gauge their response, they're like, "Yeah, you need someone else to do that voice." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am gonna get someone else. I just don't know who yet." And then through listening to the Night Train, who comes along? Malicious Sheep. And so shout out to the Night Train. It all comes together, people. It all comes together. So yeah, but Mal, you smashed it. I loved all of the renditions that you sent me. They were hilarious. I wish I could have done an edition with a different voice for the mouse for each edition. That would be cool. But yeah, I kind of you are the mouse. You are the mouse princess now. So you know. If I ever need to call upon that character again, at least I have that voice in a box ready. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's amazing, and I do hope to work with you again. Can't wait, because animation is something I'm going to be continuing with. So with my characters. So yeah, I'm hoping to work with you again. It was really nice process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be hilarious to have multiple versions, because like we've got the American version, we've got the British version, we've got the squeaky voice one, we've got the
I've got a question for you, Mal. What was your opinion about the one I chose? The voiceover that I chose in the end.
I think that was a great choice.
You do,
especially with the megaphone overlay that you did with it. Because I tried a really rudimentary using different filters in Ableton. I'm like, maybe I can make a sound effect that will sound like it did an okay job, but not as good as what you've done there. So, yeah, I think it was a great choice. One of the biggest challenges was because I had practiced so long, I had the muscle memory down at a much slower pace.
Yeah.
So then when I had to actually match it up to the animation, I'm like trying to do it without getting tongue-tied.
Yes.
But I got there in the end, so it was great. I enjoyed it.
Oh, fantastic. That's so nice to hear. The thing which I knew you would struggle with was the pace, because we talk very fast in the UK. Especially where I'm from in Birmingham. We talk very fast. We're renowned for talking very quickly. When I visited the United States, because I've got a lot of family that have moved there from Jamaica, so when we visited there and gone to see family, you know, they have to tell us to slow down. You know, they can't make out what we're saying. And I just knew that the pace of which I'd done the piece, you were going to struggle with, but you're a professional and you nailed it. So there you go.
Appreciate that. Well, and if it was in my regular speaking voice, like the pacing wouldn't be that big of a deal, because up where I am, we have a lot of Irish influence on our speaking patterns, which go real fast. Either we're slow as molasses in January, or we are faster than a mouse.
Okay, you can't say that without now giving us an Irish rendition of the Mouse Princess.
Don't know if I can.
Because now I'm regretting the fact that you didn't give me that as an option, if I'm honest.
Well, I have to figure something out because, yeah, I have to get my. I have to
Let
list
me
it
help you.
with
Mal,
Irish.
let me
I have,
help you.
yeah.
You just start.
Give me
It
some
starts with you
seeds.
say, "For fuck's sake." That's how you start.
For
For
fuck's
fuck's sake. Just start with that, and it all flows from there.
Yeah.
You're bang
Up the
on.
street.
That is 100% how it have to be. Now you got me questioning. Do we release another edition of the adult version, the X-rated Irish version?
Oh shit, that's the version I want. That.
No,
Can we do
it's
that?
pronounced shite. You have to say shite.
Shite. Yeah.
Okay, right, Mal.
Shite.
We might have a task to do in the near future for everyone. I'm all for it. The beauty of Web3 is I would create a different collection because I want the Wild Yak Yip collection to be completely child friendly, so that if we're onboarding children to the blockchain, just like some amazing creators have been, like Carmelo. I know Carmelo has been trying to do and has been doing stuff with trying to onboard youngsters, young people to Web3. So I want that to be a purely child friendly space that they can go and read the book and watch the animation, etc. But there's nothing stopping us making another collection for more adult editions for hilarity. So yeah, that could be cool. That could be really cool. All right.
Hell yeah, yeah. Haven't been canceled yet, so let's work on that.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. We can get by without being cancelled. I think.
And kids will be looking around. There'll be kids that enjoy the books, the Wild Yak Yip books, and then they'll be Googling when they get a little bit older and be like, oh, look, what's this on YouTube? This WX8PK thing. Let's listen to that because look, it's Wild Yak Yap. Yap.
I love how you get it wrong every time. That's brilliant.
It's absolutely, it's part of it. Like I even the very day that you released the cover of this book, like, yeah, no, every time I say it, it is even when I'm looking directly at it, I will screw it up every time. And it's wonderful.
It is supposed to be a tongue twister for that reason, because kids enjoy saying it because they giggle at themselves trying to get it right, which is quite cool.
Oh, today even I read it again today, like I said, and just every time I read the name, just like it just made me laugh. It was great. One of the that I noticed in the book that I really enjoyed is that really adds to the art is the way that a lot of the typography went in the book, the way that the things were written, right? Some of it went along with the curves of the mountains or what have you that was going on. I thought that was really nice. Like it wasn't just block lettering at the bottom of the page, that the words in the book were actually part of the art.
You know what? I didn't think anyone would bring that up because Mech isn't here anymore. I've noticed that he's had a post. He's got a family issue, which is quite sad to hear. But I wish him the best and prayers to his family in that difficult time. But I kind of wish he was here to hear you say that because. Like him being a specialist in typography, it would have been nice to hear his opinion on how I've done that through the book, because I am by no means a specialist in that area. And when children's books are made, as I hold a copy of Wild Yak Yip with tea stains all over it, it's the one that I keep on my desk to refer to, and just like you were saying about books which are well used, this one's got scratches over it, pen marks, coffee stains, you name it. A bit of this morning's breakfast, you name it, it's all on there. So it would have been cool to hear what Mech's thoughts were on how I've done that. But it's nice. It's really cool for you to have mentioned that. Thank you.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. It was nice to read. It was just really cool. I enjoyed it. It's kind of where maybe how my brain works. I'm a little bit all over the place anyways, so it appealed to me a lot. It wasn't, it wasn't that just that that blockiness lettering in the bottom of the corner. It took you on the trip as while you were reading it. I did read it out loud today. My dog was sitting on the couch asleep. I wasn't reading it to my dog, but I was reading it aloud because I think for a children's book, I don't have any children, and my niece and nephews are way past children's books now. But I don't know. I read it out loud because that's part of a children's book. If you have to read it out loud to your kids, and then read along with them as they get older, and I think it's really important to pass it down. You have to picture yourself reading it and flipping the pages, right? Like we talked about earlier about reading it backwards and upside down, so that the kids in front of you can see it. But yeah, no, it really goes well with everything. It fits my child's criteria quite well. Malicious, you got your hand up again. What's up?
I'm just heading out now. So I wanted to thank you all. You are wonderful. And thank you so much, Uncle Browers, for giving me the opportunity to try my voice out on, at this little voice acting thing that I want to try and do. It was such a wonderful experience, and I'm very grateful to you. And yeah.
Thanks, Mal. Thank you, and thanks for coming onto the space as well. I was so hoping you would because I wanted everyone to hear from yourself and hear your amazing part in it. I hope we get to work together again because it was thoroughly enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying thank you very much for coming in, Mal. Appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for holding space, as you guys always do. You do such a great job. I will catch you all soon.
Catch you on the other side. Take care, Mal.
See you. Yeah, you
Bye.
too. Bye.
We're very lucky here on the train that we get to visit with quite often. We're super, super lucky for that. Mal is a great person in the space, a great person in a lot of spaces. Mal has quite the amazing pocket knife, Swiss Army knife in her pocket. Mal does everything all over the place. Going to a meeting now. Yes. I think that was really cool. It was very cool that that last time we had Mal on a couple weeks ago to come back and chat with us again in a guest way. That was mentioned about wanting to do the voice acting, and it was even more flattering. Back to the flat thing about hearing people listen. That was one of those moments where you, Uncle Browber, listened to our show and said, "Hey, Mal, have I got a deal for you?"
Exactly. Give me just a second. I just need to pop out for a couple of seconds. I'll be back in a second.
All right. Promise. As long as you promise. All right. A little bit of a room reset while we're sitting here, folks. Thank you for being in here with us. We have been bucked or rugged 3 times tonight, but everybody keeps coming back to hang out with us, and we thank you very much. When we get it on YouTube, the whole space will be nicely sewn together. Otherwise, you can listen to it in its parts through Twitter if you would like. We are chatting with Uncle Browbrows tonight about Wilk Yak Yip, a children's book that he wrote, as well as did the visuals for as well. And we just tonight, just a little while ago, dropped the very first animation that came from that as well. The very first time that Uncle Browbrows has animated any of his children's books, and we dropped it here tonight on the show, so you can check that out. It's pinned up at the top. If you are interested, you can go up there and check it out, maybe collect it for yourself. This is the Night Train. We are here every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, talking to artists about the art and the journey and everything in between. Next week, we're going to be having Paul, who is a ghost, on to chat with us about the finale of the What the Fuck game show is this, and along with that, the winner, Jundaboom, will be on the show as well next week. So come back for that one if you want to do so. If you want to check us some of our old stuff, you can always head over to wx8bk.com and follow the links there, and you can maybe go listen to some of our past shows. We have some really great stuff, really great artists in the digital world, the physical world, and all the worlds in between. That was the one thing that Uncle Brow said earlier. He dropped the fourth dimension thing. That was a very retro Manny thing to say, the fourth dimension.
Oh dear. Yes. Oh man, I can't wait for my next. I really want to do a collaboration with Retro on Web3 because obviously we're yet to. That's the one creative area we're yet to explore together. But I'm hoping we can get something done in the future. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, we love Manny. We just like with yourself, we had offered because Manny didn't want to be up at 2 a.m. doing the show, so we pre-recorded it, and we got to chat with Manny, and that was a really wonderful space being able to chat with him. And he's a big supporter of the show, always around. He's a big supporter of the space and of people in general. Like Manny is always around, always chiming in right where Manny needs to chime in. It seems.
Yeah, but shame on him for not wanting to do it live. Shame on him.
But the one thing was with you, it's obviously that motorcycle riding blood that's raging through your systems that made you choose this route to go on, right? I don't think Manny rides a bike.
No, but I have offered to pay for his lessons for him to ride a moped or a scooter. Yeah, like a Vespa. Manny with a Vespa and a open face helmet. One of those really silly looking helmets. Oh man, I would pay for that. That would be an image that would live in my brain rent free for the rest of my life. It's never happened. Although if you put a camera in Retro's hand, he becomes the craziest daredevil you will ever know. Without a camera, it's the opposite. But with a camera, he almost becomes the camera. If you know what I mean. Like, he's been on the back of my motorcycle filming backwards, not holding on to anything, while I speed down the highway. He's filming,
What?
Yeah, the dude's like a human tripod, and stands like one most of the time as well. But he's hung over like high rise buildings. He's hung over the edge with the camera, and man, put a camera in his hand and he can do anything. Anything's possible.
These are the backstories. I love this shit, man. Because we talked to Manny for 5 hours. I'm pretty sure, or very close to. And it's just sometimes these things don't come up, right? But damn.
Okay, hold on. I was getting out of the car, and when I hear human tripod, I think something different. That's usually a different term around here.
Oh dear me.
I think I got the gist of it, though.
Oh dear, that's brilliant.
It's so funny you said that, Willie, because I was leaving that one alone. Like, I was smiling ear to ear. My actually fucking.
Oh, I couldn't leave that one laying on the floor.
And that will be the moment everyone remembers from the podcast. So,
you remember that children's book author?
It wasn't very child friendly.
Every child grows up. That's all I have to say. Is that every child?
Oh dear.
Oh, that's good stuff. My face hurts now.
I did have a question when we were talking about Retro Manny earlier and just your guys' relationship and things. And I was wondering, did you guys come into Web3 kind of together, or are you like a pioneer early?
Oh, sorry, I've just lost you. Oh, hope that's not the space. Is that the space?
No. No, that was Willie. That was Willie. I was a little worried for a second there, too. Willie's probably going between Wi-Fi or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he dropped out again. We'll get him back up. We'll get him back up here in just a second. just talking about, getting Manny on a scooter, or anybody on a scooter, or a motorcycle for that matter. It's a rush, man. Like, I mean, I get why people love riding motorcycles. I've owned two myself. The most of the thing that I find scares me the most that the motorcycles are not on the road for 8 months out of the year in Canada, right? So when they're on the road, people forget about them too much, and it's sketchy up here. Just because it's not in their minds. It's not like when you're in a country where motorcycles can basically be ridden 365 days a year, right? So that's the only thing. But yeah, being on a motorbike, even a scooter, I'm really passionate about the small CC engine things.
Yeah.
Like I love bikes and scooters that are like 100 cc's, and they're, I don't know, they just have a place in my, maybe because I'm a little guy, but but I don't know, they have their own little class to them, and I think people forget about them, especially hardcore motorcycle enthusiasts. They forget about some of those little bikes are just as pretty and fun to ride.
Yeah,
it's a different ride.
Oh, definitely. Well, I've always gone with and in the UK, to be fair, we grow up with motorcycles and mini motos, and being rebels and stuff like that. That is still very much so a part of British culture, and bike life, and popping wheelies and down the street and things like that. Especially in the inner cities in Birmingham, where I grew up. In a little town called Smethwick. It's very much part of culture and life.
I know the
to
beer.
Do that. You know the beer?
I know the beer, Smithwick.
I don't know whether that's the same place. That might.
No?
Is that something I'm going to learn here? That might be something I'm going to learn here. If that is,
it should be from that area.
Is it? I now have to
spelled like Smithwick. Smithwick.
Oh no, it's SME. Smethwick. Okay. So
you British with your funky spellings and saying things the same.
Yes, that's it. No, it's not Smithwick. It's it's Smethwick. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
You Americans thinking the rest of the.
Smithwick's Irish. I thought it was British. It's Irish.
Yeah, I thought so. I've not heard of it before. I thought I would have heard of it if it was from Smethwick. But yeah,
okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's okay. I thought I was about to learn something new, which I'm all for. I'm all for that. And I would have headed to the store tomorrow to get one if that was the case, to try it out. So yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh shit. So you had mentioned, just to kind of get a little background, like you had mentioned that your family, like motorcycling is kind of in your bloodline, right? Everybody in your family does that kind of thing. Were you always very artistic when you were younger, when you were a child? Was this something that you were always into, drawing, painting, writing stories?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, actually, because I am very regretful that at the age of 15, when I was sort of deciding what to do with my life, I chose the route of being able to afford cars and motorcycles and go-kart 3 times a week, and go to martial arts and pay for martial arts classes, and travel around the country to martial arts events, etc., and motorcycle everywhere, and all of that costs a lot of money. So I chose to go into trade work, like my dad. So I chose to go become an electrician. And I gave up a scholarship in track and field to do so. So the things I've always been good at throughout my life, which have been a consistent thing, have been sports and art. They were the 2 things that I got A stars in. A star is like the very top mark you can get in anything in the UK, or used to be. There's a new grading system now compared to when I was a kid, but it used to be the top mark you could get. And ever since I was probably 4 or 5, I could draw extremely well. I used to do my brother's homework. My brother was 2 years ahead of me. I used to get him A's in his homework, in his art homework, when I was still in primary school, when he was in high school. And the teachers never knew. But I did his art homework even when I moved up to high school and he was just about to leave. I was still doing his art homework and getting him good marks. So yeah, it's just always been a skill. But I left the art world until I met Retro Manny in martial arts. We went to martial arts together, and when I met him and found out that he was into filmmaking, and that's what he did his university degree in, film and television. I met him and I was like, oh wow, I've like always been into art. I've not done it for years. I've always been into filmmaking. Me and my best friend used to make horror films, short horror films on our DV camcorder years ago, when we were 11 years old sort of age, until we were like 14. We used to make these like horror films and stuff like that. I wish I had those tapes. I don't have them anymore, but I wish I had them. They would make some cool NFT drops. But yeah, the creative in me sparked after meeting Retro, and basically Retro will tell you that I basically made a company, told him to sign some papers, and all of a sudden he was in a company to make films, and he had no idea that was the case. That's what he tells people. But that is pretty much what I did. I just got the creative bug, and I quit being an electrician. Worked as a postman for a year to build up capital, because as a postman I could finish, my days would finish around 12 p.m. in the midday, and then that would allow me the rest of the day to work on the company, and that's what we did. Me and Manj, we set this company up together, and we didn't know what we were doing, young and stupid, as they say, and sort of just learned everything as we went along, and that's how I got back into the creative space. But I hadn't sketched a picture or anything for years. I hadn't done any painting, watercolor, you name it. I hadn't done anything. Actually, that when I got back into, oh, sorry, have I disconnected?
No, we can still
I'm
hear
still
you.
there. It sounded like I disconnected mine. So yeah, it was shocking to me that I hadn't been doing anything creative for so many years after spending all of my youth constantly. I don't think I went a day without drawing as a child. So it was very strange that I went into martial arts and motorcycling, especially. Those two things took up my life really, for so many years, which was facilitated by being a tradesman and earning money like that, rather than being in college and not really earning any money. So I look back and I regret the fact that I stopped creating for so long, which was a shame really. But I got back to it, and I've not looked back since. I've been creating again since 2009, non-stop. So so obviously that was in filmmaking, and then I didn't get back to doing drawing and sketching until 2019. So other than doing things, the odd doodles and stuff like that, but but properly doing it as a children's book artist, that was 2019 really when I got back into doing that. So yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm just gutted that I stopped. I wish I never stopped.
So why make the shift to children's books during all that?
I think I mentioned this earlier a little bit, glazed over it probably. I think that is because a few years back I chose not to let myself be dictated by what I think I chose to let what feels
natural.
Hello?
I said, is your phone?
Is that I think I don't know what I think it's something's happening with the space on my phone. Can you hear me now?
You're there. You're like dropping in and out, like almost like like you get a text message and it cuts out for a second or something. I don't know.
I'm definitely not getting any text messages at this time in the morning.
I didn't think so. I'm like, isn't it like 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
No, everyone else is asleep. I don't know why it's doing that, but it's just started doing it, hasn't it? Shall I leave and come back?
No, I think you're good, man. You're
I'm
good.
good.
No, let's not mess with fate. You're here. Let's just
okay. Cool.
We're good. We're good, man.
Yeah. So what was I at now? Oh yes, why I did the shift. I think I just decided that I would let whatever felt natural happen. And after being a foster parent, I was a foster parent before I had my own son. I decided to tell stories that engaged that audience. Do you know what I mean? That I could feel like I'm achieving something for someone other than the adult crowd and myself. I think my film has been something which has been something for me. Do you know what I mean? It's very selfish in a way, because when I make films, I make them for me. If I've got to like them, I'm kind of not making the films for anyone else. The hope is that I like them, and if I like them, other people will or will not. It's very subjective. Whereas with children's books, I do have to like them. I do have to find them funny, but because otherwise I wouldn't be passionate about writing the story. But the ultimate goal is that I'm writing it for the entertainment or the betterment of the children that are going to read it, or the adults that are going to read it. I'm a big believer in. I grew up with Dr. Seuss books. You guys should know Dr. Seuss very well. Him being American. I know you're Canadian, but the other listeners here probably are in America as well. So Dr. Seuss is quite huge as well in the UK. I'm disconnecting again, I think.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Dr. Seuss. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
no, I like the thought of writing for the parents too, because we're the ones that have to read them 10 times in a row, and we get the story after the first time.
Yes.
As we're the kids, they don't care. They want to hear the story, but as an adult, and you're reading to your kids, you're like, do we really have to read this same book again if it's not a great book? But if it is a great book, then you don't mind. You go, oh sure, let's read that one, or let's read this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them, it's just grueling. I had a book called Walter the Farting Dog. Had to hide
Walter the Farting
Dog. It's I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. But I didn't like reading it, and I didn't really care for the message it was sending, and it was a little too graphic for my 3-year-old, who that's the only book he wanted me to read. So I would hide it and be like, I don't know, I don't know where it is. And then
Dude.
he would find it.
Yeah.
And then we'd do this again for a week
Uncle Willie,
until I could hide it again.
Uncle Willie, next week, can you bring that book to the show and read it to us, please?
Yeah,
I would
I
like
think I think I finally was able to throw it out.
Please do. That'd be hilarious.
That's shitty. Where is it? We got to find it. Willie, you got to read us this book. I didn't even know such a book existed.
Okay, I'll see if I still have it. If buried in the back of a drawer somewhere, if I do.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Uncle Willie, read it to us. It'll be good. We'll all get to cuddle up and read it again. Read it again. Where does the fart come from?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Out the window. That's when the train goes right the fuck off the tracks. We're talking farts
Yeah.
now.
So yes, I really appreciate, and I'm sure most, if not all, parents really appreciate when the book is thought about from the parent's perspective of having to read it too.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Just before I said Uncle Browbrows, this popped into my head now too. So, where did Uncle Browbrows come from?
Well, here's the story. So, if you won't see this on the on the NFTs because I didn't release that page because it's just the copyright page. But on the copyright page, I have my forward, which is like, or excuse me, which is the sorry, my throat's starting to excuse me. Yeah, it's starting to dry. I've now run out of coffee. I did myself a flask so that I didn't have to go back into the house to disturb and wake up the rest of the family. So I've got that's now fit. Now I have no fluids to drink. Oh, sorry. What is happening? Am I disconnected again?
No, I think it's your. Are you using earbuds or something?
It's no. It's I think my phone's sort of not interacting with the space very well now. It was doing very well for a while, and now it's I don't know. I wonder if it's hot or I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Because Willie started talking about farts.
That's it. It's like
Nah, it was before that.
Right. Anyway. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Give me a second. I'm going to just disconnect this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, I'm just going to talk like this with the phone. So I've disconnected my headset and mic. I probably don't sound as good now, but yeah, there. Is that better?
Oh no, dude, sound fine.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I did this flash so that I didn't have to disturb anyone. But the forward in the book reads, "For my super little boy, Troy, who inspired Wilk Yak Yip, and my cheeky niece, Jolie, who, meeting me for the first time, exclaimed, 'Hideous brows!' I have embraced the much friendlier title of Uncle Browbrows ever since." And then my niece and nephew would call me Uncle Browbrows. They don't anymore. They do as a joke now and then, but they're older now. So they don't use it as a as something that they would call me normally.
I love it.
But yeah,
I mean, Eugene Levy just had a commercial about his eyebrows in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
So it's not a terrible thing, I guess.
No, not at all. It's supposed to be humorous, and when I was coming up with who am I as a children's author, and it took a bit of work to think about, do I go by my actual name, or do I use a pseudonym, or a different pen name, and then I thought, well, I like Dr. Zeus, I just like it, I like the fact that it's unique, and it will have a story behind it. And I just thought, well, why not use Uncle Browbrows? It's a real story. It's not made up. It's something that happened. There's history there. Every time I hear the name Uncle Browbrows or I say the name Uncle Browbrows, it gives me a fond memory and makes me giggle because I think about this tiny little girl who I'm meeting for the first time because it's my wife's niece. And this tiny little blonde-haired girl looking up at me, so I'm towering over her, and she looks up at me and then, has this like worried growl, and just exclaims, hideous brows, and I'm just thinking, well, that memory just lives rent free, so in my brain. So every time I hear Uncle Browbrows, it's a pleasant and fun memory. So I couldn't think of anything more fitting, really, and that's what I went with. Initially, it seemed strange to people, Uncle Browbrows. It's a bit like don't quite get it. Obviously, I've got big, thick brows, but other than that, they might think, well, how does that relate to children's books? But then, how does Dr. Seuss relate to children's books? It's it's one of them things, isn't it?
I think it works.
Well, that was one of 4 or 5 different pen names that he used, though.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Like a lot of if not most authors have a variety of pen names. So yeah, I think which I would choose to do as well if I was to release a novel, for instance. It wouldn't make sense to release that under Uncle Browbrows. I am writing a novel, but when it gets finished, I have no idea. Maybe in 20 years' time, but yeah, the releasing that under Uncle Browbrows would be a little bit strange.
What's that new novel genre they have now? Oh, what the hell is it? It's like Game of Thrones kind of shit. So it's like all mystical stuff, but it's like
fantasy.
It has a different name now. Oh shit! I gotta Google this. I'll find out in a second here. But it's cracking me up. It's like, but when I first heard about it, it started really cracking me up, and I was just shaking my head. But then I'm like, no, some of those
erotic fantasy.
Is that what it is?
I have no idea. I could see Game of Thrones being classified as something along those lines.
But at first, I was kind of laughing and I was kind of joking in my head, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, no, because I mean, some of those sword wielding maidens. I mean, hey, it's pretty sexy. I'm just saying, but anyways, I'll look that up in a second here. I'll see if sorry, I got way off track there, but that just kind of popped into my head. Children's book, erotic fantasies. Yeah, that's no.
We're covering all bases here today on the Night Train.
we tend to do that. It's like you had mentioned earlier, how we went talking on, and you didn't get Mal up as much as you had liked, but it's the way it goes around here. I mean, it's how the conversations end. I would say most of the times, by the time we're done doing a space and shut it down, there's probably more questions that have been raised than answered, and things that we never talked about that we intended on talking about.
We're gonna rebrand the show to Lost, the podcast.
Brilliant. I like that. That's cool.
Right?
That is very cool.
My aunt and uncle just started watching Lost around Christmas. They said, "Have you ever seen this?" And I was like, "Oh man."
I don't know how anybody can watch that show if they knew what the ending, how poorly the show ends. I don't know how you could start it now.
Well, I keep an end too, because I was like, okay, this is just getting whack.
I mean, I started watching it in like season, I think there were 7 seasons, right? I think we started watching it like halfway through season 5. So by the time the end of season 6 ended, I was completely caught up and ready for the final season. And then just the sheer disappointment of that last season. Like, oh man, I don't know how anybody could go back and watch it again or start watching it.
I agree.
It was great up until that last season, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the reason I stopped watching it, was because I was like, you know what? I just don't think this is going to end up ending well, because they've gotten so like
they just didn't answer any of the questions. They needed to answer the questions. That's all they had to do. Answer the questions. They couldn't do it. Like you said, they brought up more questions in the end than they answered.
Right. The reboot will be coming out in 2030. You watch. It'll happen. It'll be good.
Oh, yeah. Well, as long as they change things, yeah. It's like Game of Thrones, though. The ending was appalling. Like, why can't they finish these things? And then you have the opposite. You have things like Breaking Bad, which just nail it, absolutely nail it. So epic.
Through that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then Breaking Bad came back with the movie, and it kind of did nothing for the rest of the series. And it was like, why'd you do that?
Yeah, I think it just finished things for Jesse, didn't it? I kind of liked it. I kind of liked El Camino. I think, I kind of liked it. As you say, it didn't progress. It didn't progress things for Breaking Bad as such. But I think it did. It did give a nice ending. Although Jesse driving away at the end of Breaking Bad was epic, and it potentially didn't need revisiting. Because
Right.
your imagination does fills in the gaps to how you feel like things could have ended. But at the same time, I don't think it was terrible. It wasn't like a terrible decision. Not like they do mess up a lot of things. I don't think it was messed up as such. It just didn't progress. I agree, it didn't progress anything really.
Yeah,
However,
it's very easy to like rewatch the series of Breaking Bad and just leave the movie out of it and like just
yeah,
I forgot that even existed. Same thing
exactly.
with Sopranos.
Yeah,
Sopranos did the same thing with their movie. It was just kind of not much there.
yeah, yeah. It does make you
It
wonder
didn't help. So
whether it was a Netflix money making, opportunity. To be fair, it's hard to know exactly whether that was the case, but yeah. But then I feel if you have you watched Better Call Saul?
no, I watched the first season and then I don't know. I just fell off and I never got back into it.
It's very slow, very, very slow to get into. So a lot of people drop off on it, but I kept with it, and I feel like that was awesome. That was really good, and added to the world of Breaking Bad really well. But you really do have to stick through the first couple of seasons because it's a slow burn. It's a very, very slow burn until he becomes Better Call Saul. So but it's a slow burn, but it's very rewarding, especially when you get to see characters like Tuco and Gus Frayne, and you get to see a hell of a lot more of the old guy. It's gone out of my head. What's his name? Oh, don't worry. The guy who kills everyone anyway. the Gus Frayne's guy.
Mike.
Mike. There we go, Mike. Yeah. So you get to see a hell of a lot more about Mike, and I think it was definitely a good addition to it. Anyway, enough of Breaking Bad, I think. But I think just following on with what you said, it's hard to get to get things and series that really nail it, and I don't understand why. I don't understand how it can go so wrong. too many chefs in the stew, I think. So yeah.
Probably the way it is with everything these days, man. 100%. What do you got coming up in the future? I mean, this was a pretty big deal that you've been working towards releasing this animation. What's the next thing we all got to be keeping an eye out for? What's going to happen next?
So I suppose a bit similar to Retro in that way. Well, I suppose we are similar in that sense because we worked together for so many years. But I have so many things on the stove. Always, constantly, and I'm constantly doing bits of this and bits of that. Before finally releasing whatever it is I've been working on. So this animation, for instance, I didn't even decide to do until October last year. So I was never planning to do an animation for the collection. I was only going to release the limited edition front cover to finish the collection, and gift that to to my collectors. But I just thought it warranted something a bit more epic, something that really shouted, this is a special moment to release 50 copies of a limited edition book. And I just thought an animation of Wilk Yak Yip was, it was about time. So then I decided to do that. So that was like an additional thing that just happened last year and this year. Onto the workload, but I'm working on a few things at the moment. So I have more children's animation planned. I'm currently working on that because I'd like to expand the reach of Uncle Brow Brows really into animated content for children. However, the thing I'm really looking forward to, and I've been working on this now for a couple of years, is my it's kind of young adult up to adult really. It's kind of like Family Guy, Rick and Morty, kind of age sort of bracket. So it's not for children really because of the content. But that's what I've been working on for a while. Before doing the animation halted my progress on drawing designing the characters for my comic. But this is a comic I'm working on, and I find it absolutely hilarious. I can't wait to release that, and I am going to do something cool with it on Web3. So keep your eyes peeled over, and I will maybe come and chat to you guys either on someone else's space or on another space you run, or maybe another space that if you want to talk to me about it, that'd be fab. But I've got something in the pipeline with that, and I can't wait to. That's what I'm really excited about. I've been wanting to do a comic for so long, and I have three episodes written of the comic so far. So and I'm just continuing to write, but I'm going to take a break from writing to start getting the first episode drew and all the artwork done for that. Potentially, I may be able to do some cool collabs, but that's nothing like that is confirmed yet, so I can't really say anything. May not happen, so if not, it'll just be an Uncle Brow Bros production.
I'm looking at HP down there and thinking about his beautiful pen work going against some comic.
I'm gonna have to.
Just one of my thoughts.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I was going to say,
you're getting my brain working there. So yeah, but this comic is, this is a big thing for me. It's something I'm really looking forward to showcasing. But I'm hoping soon, when I get back to the character designs, my hope was to. Oh, go on. I'm just gonna do it. Shall I just do it? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it here. I'm gonna put it out there. I was going to create a new collection, which just has the characters for the comic in, for people to collect. So that was going to be the starting point of it, just to introduce people to the characters. And that's what I'm going to be working on again soon. Now the animation is finished and I've wrapped that up. So so keep your eyes peeled. I have put it out there into the universe now that is what's going to happen. So
you heard
that'll be the
All
first.
right, love that.
Yeah. But it's really cool. I kind of want to tell you about it, but at the same time, I feel like now's not the right time. So,
well, I will tell you that you're always welcome back to schedule another time that we can go get into that if you want to do that.
Oh man, I would love it. This has been fantastic. In fact,
maybe we can even pre-record that one for you. Take it a little easier.
I'll do it live again. This is too enjoyable.
Let's
Why would you pre-record it when anyone random could just pop up and offer some like HP earlier, just dropping in and dropping some wisdom.
Well, on the flip side, had we pre-recorded it, we probably wouldn't have needed him to come up and tell us to change the top because it wouldn't have cut out on us. We would have just played it.
right.
There is that. There is that. There is that. But I mean, we can pre-record if you think that would make sense. But I'm glad you want me back for one. That's nice to know.
Absolutely. It's something we throw out to, we definitely throw out to all of our guests because like I had mentioned earlier, sometimes we just don't, we get things that we want to ask and roads that we want to go down and we don't go down that road and we end up somewhere else. And then all of a sudden it's like, shit, we ran out of time and we never asked these questions. I mean, yeah, and whatever our platform can help with, we would love to help with. So, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if you're going to be dropping a comic like that. Yeah.
If anyone's a fan of things like Rick and Morty or anything like that, I'm a huge fan of that kind of silly stuff. I'm hoping that you'll love the comic because, man, it's silly. It's just ridiculous. I think it's a great story. So I can't wait to share the actual comic. But yeah, man, there's some hilarious stuff in that comic. Can't wait. So yeah, that's one thing on the next that's in the pipeline. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting that done. There's many other things that I'm doing, but I think I'm just going to keep it brief as to what you will see you're more likely to see in the near future. Because with the animation, it takes a long time. So to actually start producing children's content, that's going to take it's going to take a long time, really. So although that is going to be something that will happen in the future, it's not like I've got a team to sit on and do this stuff with. So, but that's where potential collaborations can happen too. So, to see if we can get things done as more of a team. But yeah, there's a lot coming. I'm excited.
That's what we wanted to hear. That's why I asked the question.
And of course, there's more children's books. There's always going to be more children's books. So there's there's plenty of children's books. I can't. Obviously, you wouldn't have read my second Wilk Yak Yip book, Yak on the Track, but I love that book. That's fantastic. I absolutely love that book. And it's got Uncle Joe in it. Uncle Joe's a new character. It's got the Mischievous Five in it. They're a bunch of new smaller yaks than Yip. They're really cool. It's got some grown-ups in it, which I think are hilarious. I love what I've done with that book. That's quite cool. So I'm unsure whether I'm gonna release that as how I've done with Wilk Yak Yip on the blockchain anytime soon. I don't think now's the time. I think I want people to come to know about the Wilk Yak Yip collection and give them time to wrap that collection up and give them time to collect. I'm not the best, if I'm honest. Something that I do lack in is kind of being on Twitter all the time, or on X all the time, and constantly connecting. I do struggle with that when I'm in my creative flow. Something that I think, for instance, like Retro, he does so well, much better at it than me. But when I'm in a creative zone and I've got other things, well, we've all got stuff going on in life, but when I'm juggling life and creativity, I really struggle to come out of that bubble to, go onto social media and post and talk about myself. I really struggle with that. I much prefer, which is why I like children's books, because it's books in hands, and I'm the same. I much prefer being with people and talking with people in person, rather than messaging online. So it's not something that's ever come natural to me to post, and to do that. In fact, I even would go as far as saying it stresses me out. So yeah, I've never been a fan of doing that sort of stuff. I have to force myself to do it, really. Even though I love talking to people, but yeah, I much prefer to sit and chat with people like we're doing here. That's great. But again, the next level to that would be I'd much prefer to come to visit you in Canada and sit with you and have a brew, and have a chat that way. That hands down would be my preference.
Oh, hell yes. Welcome anytime. Welcome anytime. Yeah. No, I get that. It's a big thing. I mean, it's something that we're, don't know how old you are, but I mean, a lot of us here, like, if you weren't born in like 2000, like, this is stuff that's all not second nature to most of us, right? Like, I mean, we didn't grow up communicating with people this way or having to touch base with people the way that it happens now, right? With using the social medias and stuff like that. It was typically always face to face or picking up, talking to somebody, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I think I'm an 80s baby, so yeah, very much so. Grew up without all of that stuff, and then as you become a teenager, that's when MySpace and Bebo and things like that came out. But they were very different to what we have today. MySpace, that was originally just like everyone doing their music and stuff like that. But now we have Facebook, and yeah, it's a totally different thing. Yeah, I wish the world could slow down again a little bit, to be honest. But
amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, but I think that's just what we've got, though. That's the world we're in, so we've got to make the best of it. Yeah, I think things like what you and you both do, Bits and One Wheel Willie. I think keep doing this. If you can keep doing it, making a space to come and chat and get creatives together, and I think that's amazing. That is something as well that I want to do. I've only really spoke to Retro about it briefly, but I do want to try and put my own podcast together at some point, because I do love talking to people. But I kind of want to do it that Joe Rogan style, But I know there's having the budget to do that is going to be difficult in terms of getting people, to the place. But maybe if I can just start with local, creatives that are, close to where I live, but I would just love to talk. 'Cause I love talking all things creative, and it would be great to have a place to do that, and invite people over to my home studio and have a chat for a couple of hours. That'd be really cool, especially if it's getting spreading the word, about upcoming artists and upcoming children's book writers, and comic book writers, novelists, or filmmakers or animators. There's so many people that I would love to talk to, and we have some great local. Well, when I say local, in the UK, everything's local compared to you guys in Canada. But like down in Bristol, we have Aardman Animation. They're the ones who do Wallace and Gromit, and Shaun the Sheep, and things like that. And they're quite close in that sense. So it'd be good. There's just a lot of people I'd love to talk to and find information out about, and so that is something that potentially is in the pipeline. Is doing a creative podcast, something like that. But yeah, I haven't like settled on anything yet. Plus, it would be adding to the workload. So We'll see. But I'd love to do something like that. Yeah, I think what you guys have got is great. You need to keep that going.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride for us, and thank you very much for saying that. It's quite often. I find it interesting how often people come on and tell us, and then out of nowhere they'll be like, what you guys do is great. Like, you got to keep doing this. You got to keep doing this, and it's very heartwarming. Like I said, mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's and I've said it many times that everybody that's here is taking time out of their own lives to come here, including yourself and including me, including Willie. Right? Like, we're doing this, and we're here on our own accord. So when people come in here to listen, like, it's really flattering. And then when people listen to recordings, that's even more. I don't know. I that to me is like crazier. It's because you actually went and sought it out and clicked on that button to listen to the recording. It's like, man, it's awesome. No, it is. And what's funny about that, like, is that you'll find it's very interesting how many people do want to talk,
Yeah.
and or who haven't been given the chance or the platform to, right?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. I think that is the new negative to where social media's gone. We all get lost now, whereas years ago, if you were early to YouTube and things like that, you would have been found very easily. Charlie bit my finger. Who would find a new Charlie bit my finger now? It would just get lost. Unless it went viral. It would just be lost. And there's so many brilliant creatives out there that are just lost in the ether of modern social media. So yeah, I think you'll bang on with that.
Absolutely. Yep. It's hard to get found in this big world that we have now. Lily White, you popped up. You got a question? You got something you want to drop in with us tonight? How are you doing?
Hey, Lily.
That was a lot of questions. Hi, Uncle Brow Brows. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Haven't seen you around for a while.
Yeah, as I was just explaining, I do struggle with the social media side of things. It's a bit of I've got to force myself to do it.
Well, I'm glad you came today because I am soon coming to England.
Yeah.
I won't be right next door to you, but I will be closer than the U.S. I'm going to be in a town right outside of Cambridge called Newmarket.
Yes, Newmarket. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
far is that from you?
No, nowhere's far, Lily. In the UK, nowhere's far really. The furthest you'll get is Scotland, and to get there it's about 8 hours, which is like driving from San Francisco to LA, I believe, which I've done before when I was younger. So yeah, compared to where you guys operate, we're very small over here.
Well, good. Then I hope that you will pack up Retro Manny and make the journey over to see me. I will not have a vehicle, and I'll be there 2.5 weeks. So I'm hoping you guys will come by and maybe spring me from the house for a couple hours and show me something that you love in the UK. Or we can get together a group of people and maybe meet up in Cambridge if that works. I want to do everywhere I go. I'm trying to do some sort of meetups. So hopefully, I mean, if I could meet you in Retro, I mean, that would be just like worth the whole trip.
That'd be fantastic.
That's the first couple weeks in April, just to give you a general. Put it on your calendar.
Yeah, well, can you message me? Can you DM me and send me like some details? And I'll make sure it's in the calendar, and then I'll sort of contact you, and we can start planning it so that we can make sure it happens. But I would 100% like that to happen. So I can't wait. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and if Bits doesn't mind me saying so, I will be in OSS, Netherlands, the whole month of March. So if anybody wants to meet up over there, if you're anywhere near there, let me know. I hear the train systems are pretty good. I'm going to be in a little town in UK, so I'm a little bit. I won't have a car, and I'm a little bit nervous about how far I can get, how fast. But if I were
Yeah.
in London, it would be different.
Well,
But
taxis are expensive. Trains are expensive. Everything's expensive in the UK at the moment. But yeah, maybe if you plan your journeys like really well, you'll be able to, utilize that. Are you planning on going to London at all?
and I'm really not planning on spending. I'm definitely going into Cambridge.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to get too much off into my junk, but basically, in order to go a place, I have to have a house sitting job and at least one speaking engagement. And the speaking engagement has to pay at least $100 now. I mean, that's a low bar, but so I actually have two speaking engagements in Cambridge, one at a company and one at a college.
Are we
So
are we speaking Web3 in Tezos? I take
yes,
it.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Web3 and Tezos, cryptocurrency. Let's see, the college one is going to be talking to tech students and encouraging them to learn the Tezos language because it's not the same language as they're going to learn for Ethereum or Bitcoin. Anyway, so that's what I'll be doing there. And then at the company, I'm talking about them and about investing in crypto and NFTs. So I'm going to have a small screen gallery for them there, a very specific one, to show some Tezos art. Yeah, so I'm gonna do all that, and then hopefully meet with some Tesla's artists because I know we have people in the UK. It's just a matter of not really being able to get around. I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to get around. I thought about hiring a car, but which is renting a car. For those in America, they call it hire a car there. But I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. So I'm hoping that Uncle Brow Brows and Retromania, I can just see them coming in on the bike or car, whatever, and meeting up at least once. And we've lost him again. So, but I hope he comes back because there was a lot of interesting things you guys were talking about. I kept saying, "Oh, I want to comment on that. Oh, I want to comment on that." And I was. Do you remember what? If he hopefully he'll come back. But do you remember what he said about? He said he's been working for 4 years on children's book, and I didn't catch. How many books has he got out there in the world?
I wanted to say 3 books, 4 stories, or something like that. I don't know why that popped into my head. Hopefully, Uncle Brow Brows can pop back up again. Yeah, I'm not even gonna guesstimate on that. But I think it was.
No, that's kind of what I had too. Was 3 or 4 somewhere around there.
Well, it was so random, popped into my head that I was like, well, maybe there's some value to what I'm saying there.
It sounds like maybe
Looks like he had to drop
right.
the space
It sounds
entirely.
right.
I think there's at least 3 on his website. Yeah, there's 3 on his website. Oh, and yeah, so one of the books had multiple stories.
So that's
was
where
what it was. Yeah. So there's 3 books, but yeah, I think the one book had 3 or 4 different stories in itself.
That sounds about right. Well, whatever. It's the Brow Brows wasn't here to. Hello.
Hi, sorry, Lily. I had to drop.
Hey, I do enough spaces to know that these things happen on a regular.
What I would like to know is why on earth does it happen when like you either are speaking or you need to hear something? It seems to happen. That's happened how many times throughout this space where someone's speaking or needs to hear something? Oh dear me.
Hey,
sorry.
At least it's all consistent. That's the key, though. It's consistent. It's not a good consistency, but it's consistent.
That's it. They were trying to stop us meeting, Lily, in person. They were trying to stop us. Stop it happening.
Well, I was wanting to ask you a little bit about how you're marketing your books. If you have some time, if you have some energy left, because I know it's the middle of the night for you. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but I've started doing coloring books and children's education books, and it seems like it's almost impossible to get anybody to see that you've done anything. So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you're marketing or how you're getting seen by people. Are you going out to real world things, or what is your strategy?
So my the strategy of the browse is in person. So that is the I've never put a penny in marketing yet, because from research and from talking to publishers, because I go to author events where there's publishers there and other stuff. That that was one thing I was meant to talk about actually, which I haven't spoke about yet, but. From the knowledge that I've gleaned from various different people online, and stuff like that, it's very clear that unless you've got quite a few pieces out, a few books out, like we're talking maybe six or plus books, it's not really worthwhile putting any money onto marketing to be able to sell those books, because the marketing budget will just be eaten up very quickly on Amazon or wherever you would pay to market, or on Facebook or Instagram or wherever it is you'd do it. And I've just basically been told it's a pointless endeavor. You may get fortunate, you may get lucky with your marketing, but the reality is it's most likely going to be lost amongst the thousands of other books that get released every year. So my strategy has purely been doing in-person events and arranging those things, which is the bit I love anyway. That's the bit I love, is doing events. That's my favourite part of the whole thing. And other than that, I try and do some social media engagement, but my success rate on that has been very thin. Like very, very thin, extremely thin. So I've not had a good success rate with that really. But my in-person success rate has been fantastic, and that is my sole strategy really for my children's books. With filmmaking in the past, it's been a little bit different with how we've had to do stuff with that. But again, very limited success really, on a bigger market scale. So I'm unfortunately not the best source of information in terms of promotion and advertising and that, unless you want to discuss creating in real world events and stuff like that. I would say I'm a bit of a professional now, but when it comes to the online space and marketing, I'm by no means a good source of information for that, unfortunately.
When I'm in England, what we should do is we should do a real world event together to promote our mutual children's books. What do you think?
That'd be fantastic. So we can start thinking about ideas for that. My brain's now thinking about how we can do that and in what way. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We can do that. We can make that happen.
I have 16 books published at the moment, but I've only had 21 sales total. So it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get seen, get reviews? They say you have to have reviews. I'm like, I can't even get I sent books to I've bought more books. So I'm just talking about other people buying books, but I've sent all these books to my sisters and they've given them to their grandkids. And you'd think my nephews and nieces would give me a review, but they don't. Yeah. So it's really hard. The online stuff is really hard.
Yeah, the online stuff is hard. I've got a similar experience in terms of my Amazon. So on Amazon, my sales reach has been much smaller than my website reach and in-person reach. But also in terms of reviews. So I found that people will review me on Facebook, and if I ask them, if they love the book, do a review, they'll do it. But because my online reach isn't very strong,
that just doesn't seem to have happened. I just don't seem to have gone anywhere. Certainly haven't gone viral or anything like that. I think this is what we were just talking about as well, was that everything gets lost. The online world is so crazy and so filled with with new content regularly, that you just get lost as a small producer of art or books or whatever it is you do. If you don't manage to somehow go viral or get out there, it's very difficult. Is the answer. And I've sat with that, though. I've sat with that, and although it doesn't make me happy that's the case, I have sat with it and just said, well, this is a journey, and I need to hold on to the positives, and the positives are that people love my books. It could be worse. People could hate them, and I could be terrible at what I do. But unfortunately, fortunately, that isn't the case. Fortunately, people love my events, and they love reading my books. And children love them, parents love them, and people are supporting me. People are. I've got fans, and they are supporting me. So that is the positive I hold on to, is the fact that I know what I have to offer is really good, and is of high quality, and makes people laugh, and people enjoy my events. So what more do I want, really? From that is really good. What I would say in terms of your current reach. So you said you've got, was it how many books was it? Sorry, again, was it 13 books?
16. 16, and I'm right now illustrating. You just talked earlier about not putting children's books into ebooks, but every one of my nephews and nieces that have little kids said, we want the ebook. Where's the ebook? And mind you that most of mine are coloring books, but some of them are educational. So
Yeah.
I've only put on an ebook on the educational books. They're very simple educational books, guys. They're not like, you're not going to go to college off of these, but you might learn some tool safety, or you might learn about the human reproduction. Some of them are just fun books, color a dinosaur. But so anyway, I'm not, when you put on even if it's an educational book, if it's a coloring book, it will be banned on the ebooks. So you have to color the book in and just make it a reading book. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing this whole show, is just like coloring in a book about robots. So that I can put it on as an ebook, so that then I can draw people hopefully to buy the coloring book that goes along with the ebook. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to reach these people. And this is why, listening to my nephews and nieces who have children that are, between the ages of newborn and 15, they're saying, look, people, if they buy a hard copy book, first they're reading the ebook, first they're seeing the ebook. So I figured I had to find a way to make a connection to the ebooks, but then you guys are saying, oh no, that's no way to reach a child. So I might be doing spinning wheels.
It may not be the way to reach a child per se, but it may be the way to reach the parent, and it's the parent that buys the book. So if you're if who you're trying to reach is that parent to buy the book for the child, if you're being told you need to bring the ebook out first, then maybe that is the right decision. But maybe you also need to look at what results you're getting from that to know whether that is working. I found that basically the ebook doesn't sell at all, pretty much. Very few sales. But whereas the printed books, my printed books do sell very well. Obviously small scale compared to huge authors, but they do sell very well, and in person they sell dramatically well. So that is where my focus has been. The only trouble with my my approach with that is it's time dependent, isn't it? You can't be everywhere at once. You can't run 1,000 events. You can only run so many events a year. It takes a long time to organise an event. They usually have to be planned months in advance, because whoever's going to put you out and market you, they need. So whether it's a library or a school or an organisation that's getting you in as an author, these things have to be planned in advance. Everyone's got budgets, and because you can't do everything. You might start off doing stuff for free, but you can't do it for free for long. You soon learn that you have to earn to be able to do what you do. You can't keep doing it for free. You can't keep doing events for free and stuff. I think I've stopped doing free events. I might do the odd occasional one, if it's something that I feel is of mutual benefit. But usually, I have to be paid as an author to go and do an event, because otherwise, how do you survive? You have to survive somehow. For me, that is the direction I've taken in terms of surviving as an author, and being able to keep making books is the in-person stuff. But that makes your reach quite small. So unless somehow, someone in a different country or something like that says, "Oh, look at this guy, Uncle Brow Brows," or look at Lily White. I love her books. I want to get her over here. I want to talk to my college about getting them over here to do a talk to the students. And while they're here, they can visit 5 libraries in the area or whatever it might be, or do a town hall. Do an event somewhere. Unless someone somewhere sees your talent and sees the potential, and they want to do that, and they want to fund that. The reality is it's not going to happen unless you were to try and somehow pay to do something like that yourself. But I would 100% try and focus on live events if you can, Lily, because you'll enjoy it, and that will give you the motivation to keep going. Because after every event I do, it 100% gives me the best motivation to keep doing it. Because when you interact with people, families, and children and parents, and you have such fun with them, and you see them colouring in your books and things like that, that's the driving force that you need to be able to keep going. Whereas it can be quite demoralizing if you were only to see online sales. If you only see Amazon sales and only see that your books are only selling this amount, it can be very easy to start seeing the negatives, in that, especially if, say, for instance, people aren't reviewing. But I share with that experience with you in terms of Amazon. I don't think anyone's reviewed. So from the purchases, and even I know that in the early days, even family have bought books, and I've asked them, can you put review that I haven't reviewed? I just think, I don't know why that's the case, because I know I'm the sort of person that does review. If someone says, "Can you review? Can you take the time out to do that?" I'm the type of person that will review, but maybe just other people aren't, or find it hard to navigate that or to do it all the time. I'm not sure what the answer is there, but I would encourage you to try and organise live events, and think of interesting ways to engage an audience, and start earning doing so. So because you can 100% be paid by organisations where you are, or when you're visiting places, to put on an event for children, or families, or adults, or young adults, or whoever it is. Because I know you just said you've got books up to for different age groups. You could engage a variety of different people, and that there's a lot of worth in that. There's more worth in that to just selling a book online. There's a lot more worth that you can create around the world of Lily White's books. There's a lot more you can do than how much more awesome would it be to go to a Lily White event, where the creator of the colouring book colours in a book along with you, everyone's there with their colouring sheets or the book to also get a signed copy while they're there, or if they've already bought a copy, they can come and get it signed by you. As I say, you sit there doing, working with them in a bit of a workshop, trying different techniques, colouring in with watercolours, colouring in with chalk, colouring in with pastels or, paint or various different paints or whatever it might be, or pen, doing a workshop where you do all the colouring in pen, different types of, techniques. And there's so many things you could do. There really are. There's so many things you could do. An example might be I'll post a link here to something which you might find interesting, Lily. It'll be a link to my website. Bear with me. I'll just have to go and find the link on my site.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm booking in-person events right now because I'm like pumped out about it. Like everybody's going to meet Bits. I'm just going to be there.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Come on to England and join us. We'll get you in the door.
So let me just get this.
Find your, yeah, no, you're definitely you could be a motivational speaker too. I think Uncle Browbrows. I mean, you're
that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I'd certainly earn more doing that than a children's book author.
There you go. There you go. That was cool. I was just thinking too. We'll maybe start thinking about bringing the train back into the station. We'll think about wrapping things up as you're finding that link, and we're finishing up here. So, if anybody has any final thoughts or anything we want to bring up, so that we don't go fuck, even though we will, because we'll still forget things.
Do you think as your kids grow older that you'll kind of age out of children's books with them?
No.
There you go, Willie.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, Willie. I thought you'd stop. I thought you.
No, I was just thinking, because you talked about doing comics for adults and novels and things like that, and yeah. I just wonder if it's one of those things where it's like it's very inspiring because your kids are at that age, but as they grow up and they're out of the age of reading those books, you don't think you'll lose that passion for them?
No, not at all. Not at all. I love children's books. I love reading them myself. So I potentially enjoy reading children's books more than my son enjoys reading children's books. It's obviously not something I discovered that I wanted to create until later on in life. But when I did sort of realize that I had a passion for it, it did rekindle just how much and gave me the memory of just how much I loved children's books growing up, and still do. So yeah, it's something which is now with me, just like filmmaking. So although I haven't made a film now for a couple of years, I 100% will be making another film at some point. So
where can we watch some of these old films? Are there any available that I could stream?
Okay, so there's 2 feature films available on Amazon. So they might be available on YouTube now, actually, because our distributor, we've got an American distributor actually, called Bayview Entertainment. They've been distributing our films for years now, and those 2 films sort of pop up every now and then on different streaming platforms. Recently, I did see them on YouTube, where when they're watched on there, we still get paid, if you know what I mean. We still get a royalty. So you might want to check it out. I don't know whether they're on there now currently, because they do pop up and pop down, but they are available to be rented or purchased, I think. On
what are the names?
So there's one called Moments of Darkness, and there's another one called Coffee in Winter.
Oh, that sounds very Canadian.
Yeah, you might get a bit of a Canadian feel on that film, to be fair, as well, because where it was shot in Wolverhampton does have a bit of a, it actually does have a bit of a Canadian vibe to it. But yeah, you might enjoy enjoy those films. They may or may not be your thing. Obviously, with films, very subjective. We've come a long way as filmmakers since making those films. They're quite somewhat quite old now, I suppose.
Early works.
Yeah, well, they're not early, but they're sort of mid. I would say mid-career, in terms of in terms of where we were at in our filmmaking journey. There's a short film we made funded by the British Film Institute 2 years ago now, and that still isn't available online because it's been at festivals and things like that. We need to actually talk to our producer to sort of get an update on when we're releasing that online. So, but that's not available yet online. But we do have a lot of our not all of our works, but we do have a lot of our works available on a website to watch. I would have to have a discussion with Retro to know whether he's comfortable sharing that publicly, though. But maybe at some point we will share that. But it's something we do together. So whereas those two feature films they're out there on public space for anyone to watch if they want to watch it.
Okay. Cool.
But that's I would, that would be something cool to do, actually, to sort of share that side. I think it can be somewhat distracting though sometimes, when you're trying to focus on a certain path. It can be quite distracting to direct attention to something else that you've done that's in a different area. So it might be something worth discussing with Retro at some point and seeing what we what we want to do with that. But in terms of the Web3 space, there might be some potential there potentially. But yeah, there's quite a lot of interesting stuff we've done. Some stuff that's available on YouTube and stuff like that. But maybe a conversation for another day on that one.
There you go.
I'm all right with that.
Definitely.
Could
I just say one more thing, just to Lily, if possible, and to everyone, obviously, but just coming back to what Lily was.
We all have to leave. He's got to just talk to Lily. Everybody mute.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. So I was just going to say, in terms of getting an event together for when you're in the UK, I'm certainly up for that. It's where and when will be the interesting thing. For me to arrange an event, it may have to be something local to me to be able to get the backing to be able to put something together potentially. I'm not sure whether my reach goes as far as Cambridge to be able to run an event there. I'm not saying it's not possible. It might be possible. We can certainly put the feelers out there. But yeah, we can obviously continue that discussion ourselves and maybe surprise everyone here with what we've been up to with a video maybe or something to post online as to what went on the day. That would be really cool. But if you excuse me, I still haven't had a drink, y'all. If you view the link I've just sent in the chat, that will take you all to my website, where you will see the page called Booking a Day with Uncle Browbrows. And Lily, well, not just Lily, but everyone, if you want to look at that, you feel free. But it's a great example of a project that took a whole year to happen, or just over a year really, where I came up with the idea to do a book in a day, with children in the library, and we ended up doing 2 events where I taught kids about how to how to come up with a character, a story, how to storyboard, how to draw a character, interesting ways for young children to draw characters. And these events, we had children there from the age of 3 to the age of babies there, but they weren't doing anything. But yeah, from the age of 3 to the age of about 11, 12. And it engaged a lot of children. We're talking about 60 children that this event. Basically the libraries said it was potentially one of their most successful events, ever, if anything, in terms of an author event, which is crazy because they've had some massive authors there. But here comes Uncle Brows with something no one's done before. And the kids, interacted with it. But there's some videos there. There's a video there from the Book Trust from the first event. The Book Trust is a charity in the UK who provide books for underprivileged areas and things like that, for free. They provide books to foster children, looked after children in care, stuff like that. And and normal children, they do really cool stuff. So, but the whole event and the whole story behind it is something I'm so proud of. So it's worth a look. You can investigate it through the website. The book which we brought out from the event is also on my website, available to purchase. And I'm just so proud of it. But that might give you some ideas, Lily, in terms of what's possible. That's quite a huge event to put together, and it took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a lot of coordination. And it obviously required a sizable budget from the library network where nearby where I live. And obviously that funding's got to come from somewhere, because libraries all over, libraries everywhere struggle for funding. So yeah, but that might give you some ideas. And for everyone else, if you do want to check it out, feel free. And it's really interesting. And the story, the story that I share with the children and their input in the story that we made, or the stories, because we did 2 stories, is really good. Potentially might be something I again do something with on Web3 down the line, maybe. But yeah, as I say, I'm not in any rush to move on from the Wilk Yak Yip collection just yet, because I'd like to get people engaged with that, a bit more as well. But yeah, I'll shut up now. And what I will say, guys, is if you want me to, when you are ready to finish the space, if you want me to see it through by or see it out by reading Wilk Yak Yip, let me know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Nope, that's a no-brainer right there. I like went with answering back to Lily. It went from, it's not really my area, I don't know, and all of a sudden we ended up with a big plan, and Lily cooking and filling things like it's gonna happen. Like, man, that was like an avalanche of info.
I just want to pipe in real quick and say thank you for all of that, and we will talk off the space. We probably bored everybody with our book talk by now, but it's so nice to talk to somebody else that's going through like that process and trying to figure it out. Maybe we can figure it out together. 2 brains are stronger than 1 and all that jazz.
Most definitely.
I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have thought about it but didn't know where to start, kind of thing. So I think it was probably a really good conversation for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Somebody always finds something, right? I mean, that's how Al got to be a voice in the animation. Everybody gets something out of this space. A little bit of something.
Isn't Findle writing a book about a saxophone or something? The kid's book. I don't know.
It's,
Is there? That would be interesting to find out more about. Fendell's on the space, isn't he? He might not be able to talk. I don't know, but that would be interesting to find out about.
right.
I may have just made that up in my own head. I don't know.
Well, you put,
See, a lot
you
of times I like to make stuff
there.
up like this, but then it comes to fruition because they go, "Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe will do that."
There you go. That's it. All right, folks. Well, I think this is a really great point on that note to bring the train back into the station and to shut this place down. I definitely think we got to go with the reading as our closeout tonight. So, Willie, is there anything you wanted to drop before we finish off with that?
Yeah. It's such a great character, and I think he's so cute, and it's got so much potential and life in him. And I know we've been trying to get you on the show for a long time. And my friend, you did not disappoint. So great to have you and finally get to talk to you and hear all about your story and even your friendship with Retro and just a lot of fun. So really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. I really do, and I've loved being here. So you don't need to thank me at all. And I just wish I'd put Retro under the bus a bit more, to be honest. But maybe another time.
We'll save that for next show. Oh, absolutely.
Oh dear. Maybe next show I will finally have got him on a Vespa with an open face helmet, looking absolutely ridiculous.
It's been almost 2 years since we've talked to him, so maybe here in the near future we could get you guys both on at the same time.
Well, I'm not surprised because even I struggle to. I spoke to him today. He called me to give me some advice that I was asking for in terms of releasing the drop. But he's just so busy. He's got so much going on. I hope he doesn't burn out. It's not a surprise for me or him to burn out. We both have at times in our creative journeys. It's just the type of people we are. But yeah, he's great. I'm not surprised you haven't seen him. It certainly wouldn't be because he wouldn't want to be. It's certainly because
I know it's because of the time zone difference for the most part, because I'm in the Telegram chat in his Telegram, and he's in there at least every other day or so. So I know he's around, and he's always he's able to get a hold of. Not like he's not around.
Yeah, no,
we just haven't had him on the show because of the time difference.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. As you're saying that, I've just seen some messages from him. He's just started to listen back to the first night track, the first space that you opened. Yeah, that's funny. We'll see what he thinks. But yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, but I'm so glad to be here, and thank you very much for having me on. I've been wanting to be on the show for a long time now. So yeah, we finally made it happen, eh?
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate it. You can't express how much we appreciate this very much. Thank you very much for being here, man. It's been a great journey. I'm glad we got to talk to you and get a little bit of the background, as Willie said, a little bit of the background, a little bit of the story about you and what you're doing and what you've created here. I love the story. I think it's absolutely wonderful. The character is great. Next time we have you on, we're going to have to find out a little bit more about the dark side of Wilk Yak Yip and the Samuel, because the Samuel Snow character is pretty dark. There's some things going on there. Snack of yak and 2 veg.
Yeah, he's working through some things as we speak.
Right, that's what I know. But we'll save that for another time. Just wanted to let to know everybody here who was listening with us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been the Night Train broadcast. We're here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, talking to artists about the art and the journey and everything in between. Tonight we were very fortunate to chat with Uncle Browbrows and dropped a brand new animation from one of his children's books, Wilk Yak Yip. It's been a great conversation. Next week we'll be back again with Paul, who is a ghost, the creator and the caretaker for the What the Fuck game show is this. And we're going to talk about season 1 that just wrapped up. And we're also going to have the winner of season 1, Jundaboom, on with them next week. So come and chat with us on that. Hang out. Anytime you want to maybe learn a little bit more about us or maybe check out some old shows that we've had on, you can head over to wx8bk.com. And you can find links to everything you need to know. You can find links to our YouTube for some past shows. You can find links to Object, where you can check out our collab funnel collection and maybe pick your little bit something from there. If you would like, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here, taking the time out of your day to choose to be here with us to listen now or to listen to the recording. We do appreciate that very much. It means the absolute world to us. We would just be chatting with ourselves if you weren't here listening. So it makes it just like a fourth dimension, adds a little bit more to it. We're going to close out tonight with a reading from the story we've been talking about from Uncle Browbrows himself with the Wild Yak Yip story. So, Uncle Browbrows, if you can clear your throat and you are ready, the microphone's yours.
Thank you. So, everybody, this is Wild Yak Yip by Uncle Browbrows. Welcome to the adventurous world of Wild Yak Yip, my first children's picture book. This story is for all you little explorers out there who cannot wait to see what's around the next corner. Remember, where there are adventures to be had, there are also dangers. And while we don't have to be afraid, we do need to be cautious. High, high up on a Himalayan hill, a chomping herd of wild yaks chew. He is a bored little yak who can't sit still. He's Wild Yak Yip, wild through and through. It begins to chomp, it begins to chew, but chewing on grass isn't at all new. Gazing over the hills towards the sun, it begins to rush, it begins to run. Mummy Yak yells, please don't run too far, some deadly dangers may bring you harm. Stay by home so I know where you are, Mummy makes sense, my dear little charm. In one ear and out of the other, Mummy Yak's words are too much bother. With a skip and a scat, Yip scampers away, looking for somewhere more exciting to play. High, high up on the Himalayan grass, a charging herd of wild yaks clash. Get out of my way, I'm trying to pass. I'm Wild Yak Yip, I'm bold and brash. Yip begins to charge, it begins to clash, but clashing around is a bit too flash. Eager to explore and have much more fun, it begins to rush, it begins to run. Daddy Yak yells, please don't run too far, some deadly dangers may bring you harm. Stay by home so I know where you are, Daddy makes sense, my dear little charm. In one ear and out of the other, Daddy Yak's words are too much bother. With a splish and a splosh, Yip splashes away, looking for somewhere a bit drier to play. High, high up on the Himalayan peak, a crafty snow leopard begins to creep. I'm a hungry cat playing hide and seek. I'm Samuel Snow and I could eat 10 sheep. Yip begins to slow, Yip begins to stroll. Samuel Snow leaps, trying to eat him whole. Jumping in the air as high as the sun, Yip begins to rush, Yip begins to run. Samuel Snow snarls, please don't run too far. Trust me, I don't wish to bring you harm. If I eat you whole, I'll know where you are. Bet you taste yummy, my dear little charm. In one ear and out of the other, Samuel Snow's words are too much horror. With a skip and a scat, Yip scampers away, looking for somewhere less scary to play. High, high up on a Himalayan ridge, Samuel Snow chases Yip close to the edge. I've got you cornered, so don't move a smidge. You'll make a nice snack of yak and 2 veg. Yip begins to fret, Yip begins to fear. He's about to be food, oh no, oh dear. Eek! With a trot and a trip, he tumbles down. Yip begins to fall, Yip begins to frown. Little Yip cries, oh no, I've run too far. Some deadly dangers can bring me harm. I miss Mum and Dad, it's safe where they are. I'll play by home where it's nice and calm. He has banged one ear and bumped the other. Wild Yak Yip really misses his mother. With a stagger and a sway, Yip scampers away. He is sad and lost after such a bad day. High, high up on the Himalayan stones, tired little Yip tries to find his way home. That hungry leopard wants to eat my bones, but I'm Wild Yak Yip, I can brave it alone. Yip begins to search, Yip begins to smile, spotting a path he's not seen for a while. The way home alight by the setting sun, Yip begins to rush, Yip begins to run. Mummy Yak beams, my son, there you are. I'm so happy that you're safe from harm. We searched everywhere, both near and far. Come for a hug, my dear little charm. In one ear, but not out of the other, Yip is so happy to see his mother. With a kiss and a cuddle, Yip drifts away, falling fast asleep after such a long day. The end, until the next adventure.
Uncle Brabras! Uncle Brabras! Uncle Brabras!
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.